Welcome to 2025 in Mario Maker. And welcome Nerf Scuttler, incidentally. The reason I'm asking in the pinned message if my audio is working is because I finally, at long last, have upgraded my capture card. It seems like it should resolve most of the audio problems that are endemic to the stream, or previously were. I'm finally running it live to see if that's actually the case and whether it's going to hold up. We have a lot of upgrades to the stream coming, a lot of upgrades to my whole computer hardware setup later this month, I hope. So we're just kind of testing things out piece by piece and making sure things are going well. And so hopefully no problems today if things work as intended. I think I have finally, after years of problems, done what I needed to do to address the issue at least partly. And as things go well, we'll probably up the performance on the stream a little bit and get things looking really good again. For now, though, we're just running this as a first initial test of our new hardware and also catching up on levels by one of the most regular contributors to our stream in viewer levels and beyond. This is, of course, Mang on Mang's second account, MangMang69. And we're something of a Mang completionist. I think on this account we've definitely caught up on everything up to this point, but then since my absence from Mario Maker in recent weeks, Mang has actually uploaded 7 new levels, one of them for 9MMC, which we're going to save for later this week when we run all of the 9th Mario Maker Celebration, which is our next priority on the stream. But for the time being, what we're going to do is we're going to try to catch up on as much as we can of the other 6. Again, as a bit of a technical test of the stream, as well as a test of whether I have retained any ability as a player after weeks and weeks away. So, we're going to run as many of these as we can today. Some of these definitely throwing for content I had previously seen in playtesting. And I don't know if we would have seen some of the other ones in playtesting, but if I have, I would recognize them, maybe. So, let's get into the December uploads. 9MC bunk it up again, we'll save for later this week, but we'll begin with Slap and Slide, a generic winter sliding level. Let's have fun. Okay. Slide and oops. Slide and bounce, but of course we have to hold into the slide. Already reminiscent of a Desert Wind level by Mang that I played a long time ago. Except we missed a slide here. No, we have to jump over actually and backslide into it, I think. And then after we drop the icicles, maybe a wall jump over. We'll see. Like I said, still kind of relearning this game, I guess. And then, yeah, we need to twirl over there to get that extra little bit of distance. So, we'll see. And then, I still maybe know how to play this some of the time. I think we just need to slide to break all of the icicles. And then I knew I needed to jump out in reverse, but I did it poorly. I think maybe the one-way panel is supposed to help, unless it's just something de-cheesing. But we'll see. Yeah, a good way to try to relearn this game, I guess. Okay. Oh, and we don't want to jump too early. I think if we jump immediately, we can probably swirl and head down, and we'd be fine. We'd be able to get ahead of the icicles accordingly. Okay. Then down we go. I missed the bones, but then that's because we have to drop the icicle under the blaster. We'll see about that in just a moment. And down we go. We were supposed to go sidelong against the blaster in order to align ourselves along that column and then do the stomp from there. Pretty obvious in retrospect. Oh, whoops.
Oh no!
Slight goof over there. And we'll continue. And up we go. And no, again, we have to go immediately to the left in order to hit the icicle timing. That's what coins are specifically tracked to suggest to the player. And there we go. And the cat. Hello, welcome. Oops. Up we go. Oh.
Oh no!
Let's make sure we get that jump distance down properly. Again, this is my resumption of Mario Maker after one of my longest breaks away. A break of a couple of weeks. That's definitely not skippable, given a distance. I'm not doing viewer levels today. I usually do it on weekends, but that may be resuming next week, I think, because we're catching up on a couple of big community projects after coming back from the Christmas break. But I do viewer levels fairly regularly, I would say. Or I did anyway. This is my first time back after a couple weeks off. But the intention is definitely to continue doing viewer levels at least weekly. But not today, unfortunately, because I am kind of stress testing a new capture card, so I'm just playing some levels by friends of the stream for the time being. But yeah, we do a lot of viewer playtesting on the stream, and that's certainly going to continue into 2025. Okay, there we go. That's how to do it, a spin jump, obviously. I saw that coming, but we somewhat goofed. So, let's see how we do. Okay, and then... no, like I said, spin jump. We could have actually done spin jump off that wall and survived, except I think we need forward momentum to head over to Munchers on the right side stack, so perhaps not. Oh, whoops. Hang on.
Oh no!
Just getting everything back in order. Slowly. Sometimes I feel like I might, in fact, still know how to play video games. Although that perhaps is disputed. Yeah, nice timing on that. I keep forgetting this spin jump. Let's actually see if we can reorient the spin jump over here. Yeah, we totally can. Oh, yeah, except we didn't get enough momentum coming into that because we didn't get a nice clean stomp. We could have actually wall jumped up that column with the one-way panels in order to get a clean stomp out of that. If we found ourselves in a position where we do need to do that kind of recovery from missing the spin jump. So that's something to keep in mind. Of course, it's much better if I just spin correctly in the first place. Oh yeah, and there's an icicle up top that constrains your time too, so you can't just bounce around there as much as you want. You do have to, in fact, go for that ground pound immediately. More or less. Okay, down we go. Oops.
Oh no!
And then we go again. And up. Nope. I think after the spin jump, I do want to correct a little bit with a wall jump before the icicle comes down in order to get a really nice clean stomp, because coming out of the spin, you're not really going to get that. So probably at least a single tap for a wall jump, just to reposition there. But we'll see very soon if that is in fact the case. And it is, but I didn't get enough of a bounce there, as we would need to. in order to not just run into the thwomp. So, I think so anyway, because there is a movement that is going to lower the thwomp that's going to be required, so we haven't quite mapped out that sequence just yet, so let's not assume too much. Yeah. It's going to be a twirl to get over that. That's a neat little nuance there, with the springs being used as a platform on top of the thwomps precisely to make that happen, and also to have something that can't be picked up. Okay, down we go. No, twirl is actually a little too much there. I think we just need a wall jump from a lower position and find the right position and timing to get over that. But we'll find out soon. Okay, up we go. Oops. Nope, totally flipped that. Again, single tap, the icicle constrains your timing to a single tap, but no more and no less. You do need that coming out of the spin. Very important little subtlety there. Whoops. Nope. Even a double twirl isn't going to get you over that one. I don't think so anyway. Maybe it is a valid shortcut, but we aren't going to find out. Okay, down we go. And up again. Nice and high. There we go. That's going to smash it up. Okay. That's fine. I feel like there's a cleaner way to do that. Like a much cleaner and simpler way to do that, but we'll, yeah, because we kind of need to get into a slide here, right? So, the piranha plant is constraining that somehow. I don't think it's a spin jump necessarily. We do need to get into that pit, though. Somehow. I was kind of misreading what it was to do there, so we'll see. Because we have to align ourselves to the left of the plant, or we're not going to hit the plant directly. And so that's going to require some kind of subtlety that we haven't quite mapped out as yet, but we'll figure that out soon. When we get back there. Nope. Well, let's just go around again. If we can. Did lose that positioning, though. That we were looking for. That cat, yeah, I got a new capture card. That's the thing I'm testing out today. This is basically a test stream. Happy New Year, incidentally. It seems to be a dramatic improvement, actually. I am planning to up the whole performance of the stream again. I've got some new computer hardware coming in fairly soon. But if I had known a while ago that I could have just replaced the capture card and already seen such dramatic performance improvements, I would have done it, you know, but... Because I could have just made this little optimization, what, 2 years ago or something, and it just didn't occur to me that it would fix that much, you know, and that, whoops, there we go. I got the Elgato HD60X. I was previously on the 60S, which had one pretty serious limitation, which was that the card wouldn't talk to OBS directly, and so it had to go through a software translation layer through the NDI interface if you were not directly using Elgato's own first-party software. So if you're using OBS, basically you'd have this extra software performance load. And that turned out to be a huge cause of the problems I was having with everything from audio to thermals, because like I'm kind of right on the edge of, you know, hard requirements to be having a stream going at all. I am currently, anyway. We have, again, pretty big important performance improvements coming soon. Yeah, so it's going to be over towards the wall, and then it's going to be a stomp and a slide down towards the piranha. Very clear to me now. I didn't read that correctly the first time. That was our second time there. Very clear to me what the sequence is now. Yeah, oh, there is a shortcut there, okay. I was thinking that was just slightly out of reach with a double twirl. But yeah, very glad to see you back, Netcat. I hope you're still enjoying new levels in this game, even if you're not necessarily broadcasting. I have to say, I was finding that the technical problems I was having with the stream that were kind of growing year on year to be somewhat discouraging when it comes to getting on stream, and so there's this kind of newfound optimism of getting new equipment in and sort of sketching out plans again to be online a lot more. Whoops. Because there's a lot I want to play through. And I really kind of dropped off a lot more than I thought I would in late 2024, due to a whole bunch of outside reasons, of course, but, you know, also just finding on many days that I would just rather play something offline than fight with technical issues online. You just upgraded from a cheap $15 Chinese capture card last year. Wow. I didn't seem to encounter problems with your stream. So whatever you were doing, it was working at least. But the thing is, I'm pretty underpowered in terms of my whole computer setup here. Like, I never really put together my setup with the intention of streaming. I kind of fell into it. And again, I have lots of improvements coming very soon. And I'm going to revamp a couple of things about the stream on the production side. It's going to be a fair bit of work that I obviously, you know, don't actually have time for. But you did viewer levels and showcase Eli's Super World. Yeah, the thing is, Netcat, I've been mostly off Twitch for the last month or so, and so I didn't manage to catch that because I've also been doing a little bit of holiday travel and catching up on some things off Twitch as well. So. Oh, I guess also because I spent so much of late 2024 playing Factorio instead of hanging out here. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed Eli's Super World. I had played some of it. I think I played maybe the first 2 worlds of it in pieces a long time ago, and it's one that I want to go back to eventually to do it completely. If it is the old one that I was thinking of. Because I remember I really enjoyed what I saw of it, I just didn't get very far. And yeah, you were off for like 6 months, yeah. Yeah, I have so much Mario Maker to catch up on. And we have a lot that is kind of on my notepad for that. 9MMC, of course, is going to be the priority later this week. Super Discord Brothers 6, I understand, is still coming. I've been seeing a lot of makers put up their uploads for it, but I don't think it's officially launched completely yet, so we've playtested a couple of things from it, and so that's going to be a fairly big draw. And of course, I haven't done puzzles in ages. We had talked to a couple of people off stream about doing some escape room playtesting and so on, and we haven't done it in years, really. You know what I realized was in 2024, my most played game of 2024, in terms of hours played, was Mario Maker 1. We have to go all the way across to the coins. Gritoffy, you came at the perfect time. The perfect time. Because I was actually just saying a minute ago that at some point when it launches, if it hasn't already launched, we're going to be playing Super Discord Brothers 6. Because I'd seen a couple of the uploads come up from various makers that we know in the project, but I didn't think that it had actually fully launched. And lo and behold, you're here, and I can ask you. So, perfect timing. So, yeah, I don't know if it has actually completely launched. I just saw a lot of the levels come up in December. when I was away from Mario Maker. And so do let me know what's going on with that, because that would be a fairly high priority for us here. Okay. Whoops.
Oh, no.
Hopefully in the near future you had delays with a website. I see, okay. That makes sense, because I had playtested some early versions for some people, and it seemed like the uploads had finally come up and remained untouched for a while, so it looks like the levels are ready to go, but we'll wait for the actual launch, and I'll be very happy to feature it when that happens. Okay, down we go. Oh, hang on, no, got a little stuck there. And yeah, I'll definitely drop you a line when I get a chance to play it, once it comes up. But, you know, I'll let you get the whole launch together first, and then we can show it off in a more official capacity. But yeah, it is my first day back to Mario Maker in several weeks. We hadn't really played since November. And I finally upgraded my capture card after many years. So this is also a bit of a technical test. And we're hopefully going to start upping the whole performance of the stream again very soon, and so we'll make everything look great. Because I have been steadily downgrading my stream quality over the years because we were running into so many issues with my computer. And, but hopefully not for long. There we go. Oh, sailed right over. It's clearly a bounce followed by wall jump off of the falling blaster on the left side to get into section 2. I was looking at it and thinking, oh, do we have time for a wall jump off to right? No, we don't. It's straight to the falling blaster. Seems pretty precisely timed for that. Oh, oops. Didn't quite align here. And Chris Shadowfox, do you hope I have a great time with it? I certainly hope so, yeah. Oh, I completely trust that I will. Given my previous history with many of the makers involved, so. Okay. Here we go. Oh, whoops, didn't quite get the bounce there. And previously I didn't bounce forward at all, we were just kind of doing a vertical bounce there and wall jumping off the left side. And here we go. Whoops, and nope. Was supposed to wall jump to gain a little bit of height there, but didn't quite manage it. Anyway, so yeah, Gratofi, hope things were well on your end today with whatever you were playing on that side. Does my bot tell me? Oh, Bowser's Fury. 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, one or two. Yeah, hope you've been enjoying it. I had a wonderful time with Bowser's Fury when I streamed it back when it launched. But I've always adored 3D World just as a base game, you know, and seeing what Nintendo was trying with the open format was really quite a treat. Now, you get a lot of forward momentum off of that. I feel like we actually do potentially need to correct with a wall jump off to the right, but I'm not quite sure yet, because I really had to cut momentum aggressively onto dry bones in order to get a bounce left immediately. So that I'm not sure about yet. We have to go back and try that again. Okay, back we go. And down. Nope, nope. And down. Okay. That was a bit of an awkward way to do that, but we'll do it. And Yeah, that's right. Oh, I feel like we missed a secret on the left side, where the icicle was falling. No, although given the camera constraint, I feel like there's nothing that's actually going to be built on the top half. I just don't know if maybe something was walkable up there. Because it looked like the kind of thing that would be a spot to check for secrets. But that's something that we can check in more info afterwards, I guess. So yeah, Gratofi, you played Bowser's Fury for the first time? Yeah, it also took me 2 sessions, I think, to do 100%. It was something in 2 sittings, I do remember that.
Oh, no.
You forgot about a run button until towards the end. Yeah, I guess if you've lately, or I guess in recent memory, been playing, you know, the 3D Marios that do the run speed by stick sensitivity, then that's easily missed. I've actually played a lot more 3D World than
Oh, no.
most, or really any other 3D Mario, I think, because I've played through it several times in co-op and single.
Oh, no.
At both Wii U speed and Switch speed. I only did Bowser's Fury that once, but I actually kind of want to do a quick replay at some point. Just to try out some things.
Oh, no.
There's a lot of tech in it that seems possible that I'm not good enough a player to actually exploit, and especially with the things you can do with positioning Bowser Jr.
Oh, no.
There's probably some, you know, fancy speedrun tech with that I've never seen.
Oh, no.
And King Proclaimed, you're saying it makes for a pretty fun replay given how short it is. Yeah, that's my thinking as well. That it's been a couple years. I kind of want to just do it in a quick sitting again. And then realize that I totally don't remember where a final kittens, which was the big roadblock for me, was the kitty hunt. I say big roadblock, but again, you know, it was doable in 2 streams. There we go. Oh, no. I knew I needed to get into a slide there. Getting into the conveyor belt, we just missed it. Okay, let's get the stomp. No. Obviously stomp to the left. Yeah, Gratofi, you definitely felt a bit clumsy playing it. Feels like a video waiting to happen, you know. Can you beat Bowser's Fury without the run button?
No.
Anyway, let's get over here. Okay, there we go. And I totally forgot to commit to the slide for the icicles. Yeah, probably possible. I mean, a lot of what Nintendo does is tuned around that. Okay. So, no, we need a slide here. Break the icicle. Then stomp, and then stomp again. And then quickly. And then across. Oh. Lost some momentum there, but that's okay. Wall jumps will fix everything. Okay. We need to slide to the left side, jump up, stomp, slide to the right side, hit the question block. Stomp this way. And then, is there an icicle that comes back? No, there isn't. Snake block. Oh, whoa. That's okay. This is salvageable. Oh. Hesitated a bit too much there while I was reading what was going on. The skull is just there for the offset. And yeah, King Proclaimed, it is a neat level. So this is by Mang, very prolific maker across 2 accounts in Mario Maker 2. And Mang uploaded 7 new levels while I was gone in December.
Oh, no.
1 or 2 of which I had playtested before, although I hadn't seen this one. Yeah, Mang level's known for exploiting every momentum mechanic in the game. Oh, no, let's do this again. A line. Oh, oh, that's bad. That's okay. Oh, this is a neat little safety over here, coming back over this platform. That's a nice touch. Okay. And across. Oh, whoops.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Gratoffy, good to know Mang is still pumping out levels, very much so. I can't believe how many new ones there were in quick succession, but they had obviously been sort of saved in deep playtesting for quite some time. Whoops.
Oh, no.
Nice thing about doing all these in a chunk, too, is Mang levels tend to take up quite a bit of time on my viewer level stream. And I always look forward to it. I think the people behind her in queue don't really look forward to it necessarily, although, I mean, they're always fun to watch, of course, but... But I definitely take my time with them. Oops. Yeah, definitely a lot of the mechanics here Mang connoisseurs will recognize from many levels in the past. And down. Okay. And then to the right. Oh,
Oh, no.
barely missed skipping over that muncher. It's clearly a stomp on that right column. I was looking at the semi-solid up top, like in the top right, to see what that was. I didn't really get a good read on it. Okay, slide. There we go. And then, of course, you can slide here immediately. A lot of things are built to be speedrun friendly on the first cycle. I never really catch those, but I like pointing it out anyway. Okay. Down we go. Oops.
Oh, no.
You would watch a full stream of Mang levels, to be honest? Well, I mean, that's what it is today. Again, this is kind of like a bit of a capture card test stream for me, but I thought, okay, Mang's got 6 new levels. That's kind of perfect for a stream. I could just try to clear all of them, or at least some of them. They usually take me about 30 minutes to an hour anyway, depending on the mechanic. Oh. Okay, let's get over here. And nice little drop in that piranha. And down here. Could do that a bit more smoothly, I suppose, but okay, we'll take it. Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Oh, no.
That you're supposed to catch that midway, unless I'm supposed to bounce to the left and then get on the skull. But no, I don't think so. I think we are supposed to just catch that. That's a neat touch. I didn't really look at that setup to see what was going on with it, but I guess that gets you up to the top right.
Oh, no.
And yeah, Gratoffy, going back to what you were saying about Bowser's Fury, a lot of the speed challenges you were able to get without running. I was actually kind of thinking that, you know, that certainly can't be possible for some of the things in Mario Odyssey, for instance.
Oh, no.
But Mario Odyssey has the analog run, right? So I guess the whole game would sort of just be tuned around running speed. But definitely when I was younger, when I was first playing SMP1 as a kid, I did not know there was a run button. And that was perfectly fine until I think it was the big gap in, I want to say 8-2. The really big gap that is, I think, the first spot in the game that actually requires you to run. And of course I was just stuck there for ages, right? And given the live system there, I sort of wound up resetting the whole game because I didn't know how to run. Oops.
Oh,
Lost too much
no.
momentum there. Fun fact, it is possible to beat the original Resident Evil 4 without running. Yeah, you can just sort of walk around scared, right? And I'm just thinking about the various enemy patterns in it. I haven't played it since the GameCube, really. Like, I put in a couple of minutes in the Wii version a long time ago just to see how it controlled. Because I do substantially prefer motion controls for aiming things, but I didn't actually keep up with it, so... So yeah, I played it way back on GameCube, and I hadn't really returned to it since. Okay, down we go. And... down again. Okay, this is going smoothly at least. And then over here, bounce, bounce, twirl, wall jump. And then, yeah, you just kind of need to pull back on that slightly in order to get the bounce back. It's very fancy, and then there's section 3. The ball rolling mechanic, if you've played a lot of Mang levels, you'll know that it's familiar from a lot of levels Mang made that are themed after Sonic the Hedgehog, actually, where the spike balls, the Lemmy balls, and everything else are just meant to be Sonic characters. And Gritoffy, you thought the run button was just a quick turn button, which is why you know, yeah. And, oh, in Resident Evil, yeah. So you suspected something was up in the Ashley section. I think I might have thought the same too, actually. I don't remember, though, because it's been so long. Yeah, Resident Evil is not really a series I know that well. Natcat, was there one YouTuber that proved you could beat Odyssey without jumping? That sounds familiar. It sounds like it might be a Sieve thing, to be honest. Because he's always... without jumping, no, I'm not sure if that was his, but he definitely made a whole series that was, you know, can you beat such and such without crouching? Or rather, crouching all the time, like having the crouch button pinned down in a Mario game. Or other constraint runs like that. Oops. Hang on. I have to twirl to hit that snowball properly. I think I'm just a little bit short. And then... yeah, with the twirl, that actually is on the right kind of pace that we want for the bounce off the snowball afterwards. That does seem right. We're a little bit behind because we twirled twice. One twirl should probably be sufficient somewhere in that pattern. Yeah, you do the twirl in the first one, actually, because the coin path encourages it. This is a wall jump off of the stump, obviously. And then you don't necessarily even need to stop there. You need to just slide, and then you need to tap, of course, after that, so you can get on it here, because it's going to bounce back and give you to jump over to the next ground pound on the other side. Yeah, either one is fine, as long as one of those is twirl. Oops, you just pull back a little bit. Natcat, you're saying Mang levels showcase how great this game is while showcasing how great you suck at this game. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of these levels, you're learning something about the game on the fly, right? Which I find to be the case with a lot of the people who are still deeply active in the technical side of the game and who send me levels, is that whether the levels are hard or easy, you're learning something new, and that's kind of remarkable after all this time. With Maker 2 having been around for as long as it is, and with Nintendo deleting concepts as aggressively as they do. I mean, it's nice to see that there's still so much going on in this game technically, when I think a lot of people have been discouraged over the years by Nintendo deletions. getting in the way. Anyway, that was it. It's really not too tough a level.
Oh yeah, Mario time.
We just had a few specific spots to sort out. That's a lovely ending, by the way, with that little flash into the disappearance into the background. So that's Slap and Slide. The first one of the day. Thank you for the GG. Bald birds. It's birds without hair. I mean, birds just have feathers, so birds don't have hair, usually. Yeah, King proclaimed you feel like they hit a nice balance of challenging fun. Yeah, one thing that Mang always tells me in playtesting, whoops, is that, well, I mean, like most makers, I think, she always thinks that the levels are going to turn out much easier than they are, because, you know, none of these really push what we would consider Kaizo technique. A lot of it is just reading unconventional movements and momentum. And then, yeah, you kind of need to get... Oh, no. We need to step on something specific here. Let's... Yeah, because it's the slight displacement on the spring when you kind of go dead center on the marked platform, which... You see, look at this, because it's a very slight displacement when you land. A tiny displacement when you land without actually lowering the seesaw. So you land on target, where the target is marked by the spot that also restricts you from lowering the seesaw. And the marked zone is actually very clear about what's going to activate the mechanic. And it's actually the second one that teaches you this. First one, the whole 5-tile segment, I think, is... Or 3-tile segment, rather, is marked. But here, you have that kind of extra tile there on a seesaw that tells you, okay, that's too close, it doesn't work. So yeah, a lot of this is just visual indication, right? And as Gritofi was saying, you like the block patterns. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of Mang levels are actually levels that kind of live and die by the visual indication. And yeah. Very interesting. There's this kind of trigger platform. They totally look like toothbrushes, don't they? You step on a toothbrush, then there you go. Right on the toothbrush. And that's just this very consistent launch pad. Of course, we need to make sure we don't drag too much in the air in case we run into issues with the auto-scroll timing. And then up we go. And oh, you do have to jump on it, of course, because that's what causes the displacement. I noticed that a little bit too late as we slid into the bristles of the brush there. That's more or less how I'm thinking about it. Whoops. You don't think you ever would have thought of it as a toothbrush on your own, but you totally see it? Yeah, I mean, you can visualize it as all sorts of things, but... There are a lot of things that I think as a streamer, because you actually have to, you know, talk about what it is you're doing. I mean, you don't have to, but if you want to talk about a level, you have to come up with a way to describe it. And that's just what happens. Nice double usage of that spring here. Oh, look at that. Because the spring is what displaces the seesaw there. Now you see this cascading pattern, which is really quite lovely. And then, oh, no, I shouldn't have jumped there. That was something that I should have just fallen into because of the anti-gravity. I didn't compensate for the low gravity, rather. But yeah, that's kind of multiple series of triggers. Series of multiple triggers, rather. That was kind of a nice touch. Because anything that displaces a seesaw, right, will work as the trigger. So. Very, very neat idea. And there we go. Whoops, no. Just have to remember not to underestimate the low gravity. Especially when we're getting pushed by the auto-scroll and by all of the timed elements. Okay, there we go. And, oh, we actually don't need to bounce off that spring. I was so impressed by bouncing off that spring, but we don't actually need to do it. It was just really fancy when we did. Whoops, I should have jumped earlier. Like we did when I was reading it for the first time. Which was actually correct. Now, here we go. And whoops. Just a little bit of slippage there. I thought I needed to adjust, and that was not the case. Let's keep going. And then again, have to jump. Not dawdle too much on the auto scroll. Sometimes in these auto-scroll levels you'll eventually see some kind of interaction that forces a reset of the player synchronization. We haven't really seen that yet here. Whoops. Just totally missed a jump there. Slipped right off once again. That's just what happens when you surf on Buzzy Beetles. And here we go again. Yeah, it feels very tactile to do this, though. And then the forward momentum just gets you over with no issues. You have to wait there. And aim a little better there. And there we go. And then we'll get the jump on this a little early compared to the usual. And then we dunk over here. Interesting that coin block that you bump into up there is basically just to confirm that point of contact. No, we need to slide across first to drop the icicles. I got momentarily distracted by the question blocks. There is a point at which we jump towards it, but it's after the bounce back. It'll be very clear when we see it. Yeah, trying to keep some of the jumps nice and short, but with mixed success. Sort of interesting, these one-way panels here that... Whoops. I wonder if they're... Mostly they're just as a clear indication, or if they're doing something with... I guess maybe constraining the fuzzy movement coming out of that. We hadn't really thought about that, but anyway, it's a good visual indication of a landing spot to encourage the player to land. And then, oh, I see, because then you can't jump too early when you're still there. Whoops, nope, slipped right off. Okay, over we go. And up. up again. Yeah, this little question block here, that's what I was talking about. Purely there for a touch of responsiveness. Okay, to the right, and to the left, and then question block. Ah, I see. Okay, that gives you the perfect timing. And then you do need to just fall in here. And fall in here. No, you don't jump on top of the buzzy. You land on the right side to launch it the second time. That's what it is. The buzzy is clearly not in a position that you are meant to jump on, given the spikes on either side. So that was just a bit of a misread, as we were seeing that for the first time. And let's get up here. And just ride. And ride. And ride. Okay, again, right side, loop under. It's okay if I missed the question blocks, it just gives you the timing. So, it could have been slightly cleaner, but just a coin collection difference more than anything. And then over here, yeah, very clear. And that's the goal already, except is there additional secret afterwards? There might be. Oh, I guess you would need Boom Boom in order to hit the top of the flag. Oh, there's totally a pipe there on the other side, though, so... So we're definitely going for it in case there's a hard mode checkpoint, which there should be. Here we are. So, I'm going to spring over here. It's not a hard mode, it's just... yeah, it is actually. There's a scroll break on the right side. That's the trigger for a scroll break. I totally got trapped here. I mean, there's a checkpoint, of course there's a hard mode. I didn't see an alternate exit in the previous level, but I guess that was already 3 sections. So... Love this little heart here. Oh, and here's the bird screen. Thank you, you are a super player. I guess that's more of a courtesy checkpoint than anything. Whoops. What is this? There we go. You're a star. And where does this take you? Whoops. I feel like maybe we lost too much time at the start. No, we got it. Just a cute little bonus segment there with a courtesy checkpoint, in case you flub it like I do. And yeah, true ending. Well, we always try when we see it. Oh, that reminds me, I wanted to check more info in the previous level for something. End of the first section, whether there was anything over that blaster drop. I mean, there couldn't be, because it was clear that this was all built on bottom half, and I didn't see a pipe, so... Yeah, the blaster drop, that's kind of like dead center left of the blue pipes that you see in the middle of the screen. That probably is jumpable, but then you would get scroll stopped on the right side anyway, so it doesn't really give you anything. Like, you would have the sort of half-screen scroll stop up top. Anyway. Special baby ending, yeah. And Gritoffy, you're off to bed. Yeah, thank you once again for the raid. Appreciate the company and the confirmation of what's going on with SDB6, since I was wondering. And enjoy the rest of Bowser's Fury as you push for 100%. And if I manage to catch that, I will drop by, because it is a real pleasure of a game. Anyway. Let's keep going. Spherical switch box. Can a box be a sphere? No. Okay. I guess it can't be a box. Oh yeah, okay, so no, this is just a switch trigger as you head down, right? So simple, except you would need to bop it immediately, and contact with a snowball would effectively work kind of like a wall jump there. Because normally you would fall straight through. In that particular instance, what's the reason that you don't? Let's take a look at that carefully. Bounce on this side. Because if you are riding on the platform and not jumping, then the platform is what you are jumping off of. Like that. So you don't want to jump in that situation. This is going to be a double tap. Oops. We totally saw that coming. Can't prove it, but you'll just have to take my word for it. Okay. There we go. And to the right. Then nice and smooth. Whoops. Nope. Not so smooth. Yeah, just immediate tap upwards and then fall to the right. Then yeah, and then we'll need to throw this against something, and that's not going to be that. No, we need to throw it against a snowball so we don't tap it, obviously. So yeah, now that we've been taught the switch mechanic, we have to understand when to deactivate the switches in advance when we don't want to press them. So that's going to be the reaction test in this level. Oh, whoops. Oh, that's okay, we didn't activate anything, that's fine. Yeah. And then, so we don't tap that. We have to not tap this either, unless we just tap it on the right by going like this. Yeah. So it's kind of a puzzle platforming segment where we try to not tap the switches, or double tap the switches, one or two. I feel like we need a double tap that kills the thwomp. Oh, no. I was trying to jump up to the top one first to bop it, but we just need a bit of a run towards it, so we don't miss. That's kind of neat that now we have these multi-switch sequences where we just need to react cleanly. Okay, there we go. Deactivate. Right side. And so I want a nice clean double tap, just like that. Here is also going to be a double tap to deactivate the thwomps. It's going to be tap, and then we need to fall back accurately to tap the other side. And it should be left and then right, because from the right side we can then fall down towards the wall. And that should be the way to do it. So. Okay. And then we'll do that. And that. Again, just a bit of momentum here so we can double tap that. And then, yeah, we need a much better arc for that to make it back to the center, because the curvature is not quite working out there. So we have a bit of momentum correction that we need to do there before that's going to work out. And down we go. And then... Oh, nope, missed. Again, we don't want to come to a stop on that platform. That does compromise the whole movement that we require. But anyway, let's go. And over here, and here. Just a little backswing on that actually positions you quite nicely on that claw. Again, momentum, and double tap. Maybe we do go right side first because the momentum carries me forward. I like that a lot better, actually. It should be right side first, because then we don't have issues with the jumping angle that we get when we pull back to the left, which has a bit of a sharp continuation downwards. And so that's just a minor adjustment we're going to make there, right and left. On the backswing. Oh, I said. On the backswing. There we go. And yeah, you can just kick that. You don't really need to grab it, but I think I tend to grab it by habit anyway. Oops. Yeah, and we want full momentum up there so we can really bounce off the wall and curve back. So we'll try that once again. And see if the situation improves. Okay. Tap that, and continue, and tap that. So, we'll double into that, and then again, full momentum here feels a lot cleaner. Now here, it looks like you just have to drop cleanly in the middle, because you don't want to tap either switch. There's no way to double tap that, you just have to not tap anything, I think. I'm, of course, looking at it and wondering if maybe there is a double tap that's possible that might actually be the way to do it. It'll either be a double tap or a precision drop through the middle. I feel like a double tap, if you come in at a dropping angle, might actually work better, but we'll see what the margin of error is on the snowball. I'm not a precision player, so we don't know these things. Yeah, nice shallow angle there does the trick. And yeah, we don't want to knock them out at all. I'm just thinking, like, what's easier? Drop through the middle or try to hit both? Given the angle, I feel like we do still have to drop through the middle, but we'll see about that when we get to it. Oops. There we go. And we'll continue this way and this way. Okay, momentum here, here. And a shallow angle here and here. Much, much better. Not so much better once you land on a muncher, but these things happen. Okay, and then let's just go down here. And continue this way. And then down. Oh, very good. Very clean. For once. Okay, now what do? We can pick up the spring. But no, what we want to do is we want a double tap that allows me to... We want to drop the spring on top of the muncher on the left side. That's what we want to do, because that allows me to recover after hitting those switches. So why wouldn't I just... Yeah, no, that's correct. But of course the spring just falls through the snowball as we would expect. So you do a double tap there, and then you just bounce back up. So all it is tossing the spring to the left and just tapping both snowballs. It's pretty simple, actually. I was making it much too complicated by trying to do it as something timed, when there is no real-time pressure to get that right. So let's continue this way, and over here. Yeah, short bounce here is probably fine, but oh, always a bit of a thrill to fall through that. So we tap this, and we just need to curve around, I think, to get both. And there we go. Unless we needed that. Unless we needed that. No, there's no way. We just need to tap the snowball and go left. I certainly hope we didn't need to keep that. Wait, but I don't see why... I mean, that looks required, but... Oh, I see, because it bounces you off the bumper. Right, and then the bumper allows you to curve your way down. Okay. So you should tap that. Then a lot of that is just getting the fall to work out accurately afterwards. How did I not see that there's a bumper there? That overlap disguise. Let's take a look at. I think I just wasn't paying attention. Oops, no. Bad. Okay, let's do this and this. And then, yeah, same idea as before. It is safer to grab that rather than kick it, so we can guarantee the shot, but we'll wrap around this way. And Mang, welcome. I see you've been busy. Oops. But yeah, glad to see you here. So the story behind this stream is I finally got a new capture card, and I wish I had noticed or realized, you know, 2 years ago that I could have just done this and immediately fixed, as far as I can tell, the audio problems I was having on the stream. It's a dramatic improvement just by switching to capture card. Honestly, didn't know it would go this much better. So we'll probably start upping the performance in the stream again. I've got a lot of new computer hardware coming in later this month, and we're just going to get things looking really good again. And sounding really good, hopefully. Without all the constant resets and, you know, technical problems and all that, which had been plaguing us for years. Okay. Tap this and that. Now, this is as far as we got. Yeah, I just didn't pay attention to bumper previously. That's all there was to it. So, and I still managed to launch myself against it. Okay. Fine. And, yeah, Netcat, you're going to give Mang some cheese for a late Christmas present? I don't know. It could be really good cheese. I guess Mang makes such a painstaking effort in each level to ensure there is no more cheese, and so... perhaps Netcat. That is a gift that in some circles could be considered culturally offensive. Or at least very tasty. There's cheese in this level. Oh, probably. But we'll see. I mean, we probably won't see, but, you know. We'll try to look for it. We did get the true ending in the one just before this one, though. The bird level, which... I was saying the whole time that it felt like a level about toothbrushes. Because all the seesaw triggers looked like that. But I guess birds don't have teeth either, do they? Apart from the tooth that chicks use to break their eggs. No, we have to really fix this curve. I know it's a bumper, I know we're supposed to do some kind of curve down, but... I think it's just better deflection off the wall. Deflect off the wall as soon as possible so we can get a good drop to the right side. The kind of momentum correction that you get off deflecting from walls to cut momentum in one direction is one subtlety that I've never really mastered in this game, even though we still have seen so many levels that use it. So, we'll just try to make use of that. Okay, up we go. And up we go. Okay, let's try this again. Yeah, no, I'm taking too long to curve right. Like, I'm nudging against the wall and I'm actually wall sliding for far too long. That's the issue here. But let's try something like that again. And do it right. And then, whoops, there we go. Okay, toss this way, and then here we are. All immediately, there we go. That's exactly it, and then we'll not miss the checkpoint if we can help it. Optional checkpoint, by the way, if you're speedrunning, by the looks of it, which is a touch that I always like. So you need to hit the snowball to the right, and you need to outrun it, or jump on it before it hits the on-off switch on the right side, so it doesn't close the gate. That's right after checkpoint, and then so we'll be doing that quite a bit. Who just got tucked in under that snowball there? I didn't really get a good look at that. We are going to hit this to the right and go left. Or, oh, yeah, no. And then hit. That's correct. I think we just need to slip off and then jump, like bounce off the right side of it. Nope. Oh, there's a boot there. I didn't see the boot. I didn't see the boot on the right side at all until it blinked away. That's okay. We just took too long to read it. Okay. Jump over here. Left side. And then, yeah, boot, bounce back to the left. And it's a winged boot, so we should be able to do it. And then get on the platform and then bounce over to Munchers. Jump over to Munchers, rather. Yeah, it's all about just using the winged boot as a winged boot in the usual way. Bit slow there that time. I was reluctant to double tap the snowball to accelerate it, but actually we can catch it if we do it that way. Well, not if we triple tap it, but we do need to back off just a little bit when we get into the jump. Okay, down this way. Again, to the left. That little basketball maneuver. That's not a wing boot. What am I talking about? Yeah, you jump out of the boot, hit the snowball in it. Wait a minute. No, you jump out of the boot late, and you hit the snowball on the way up. I think that's what you do. Surely we know how boots work around here. But you need to get as high a bounce off the blade as possible, I think, and jump here, obviously. Okay. Down we go. Oh, whoops. Well, so much for that. We'll just fall gently to our doom when that happens. Okay. Actually, oh no, except we can't do it that way because it just kills the ball instead of rolling it. Yeah, I feel like there is going to be a jump out of the boot at the end of that sequence. So we nudge the snowball rather than outright killing it like that. Let's go back and figure that out. Yeah, because you nudge it like this, and then do we need to boot here? No, we don't, so that's correct. And then we do need that to hit, so what are we doing with that snowball? I guess we need to back into it, because on the assumption that we need to keep the snowball, we just need to back into the big one. I assume we have to keep it. There's no way that we'd just be given that snowball otherwise, so... And then, yeah, tap like that. That's perfect. Okay. I think there's going to be a throw here somewhere, unless we... Well, let's see. As you get in there, you pick up the snowball. Maybe it's just a sort of trick to get you to drop the snowball anywhere before that, but no, it feels kind of heavily implied that you should keep it, so. Oops. Because when you back out towards the coins on the left, and then... Yeah, let's think about this. I'll need to try it a few times to really map it out properly, I think, but... Tap, and go. Nope. It's way off that time. Didn't get to bounce at all. Okay, so tap, go. Oh, no. So, man, I don't know how long you've been hanging on to these levels. I know that I'd playtested at least the most recent one, the house rowing level. But perhaps you were saving these for after the burst of attention from 9MMC. I did not play the 9MMC level today because I am saving all of those for later this week. We're holding them forever, I see. Yeah, I mean, I assumed that you wouldn't have just cranked all these out in a day apiece or something. But you never know, I mean, Christmas productivity can do that to people. Nope, late. Or rather, too far to the left. But yeah, that's a nice little Christmas present for me, I guess, to come back to Mario Maker after a couple weeks off and see so much new content awaiting me. Okay, so... Okay, that's fine. So... Spring on the left side. Bounce off the right side. Because we need to bounce a snowball off of the left side in order to hit the snowball. We want to destroy that snowball, basically. Yeah, that's right. And now we can go up. That's correct. We tap that and the stump is going to drop immediately. We jump off the stump. And then we do need to land accurately on the stump, though. We don't want to hit too high. Natcat, how was my holiday? It was fantastic. I went on an extended ski holiday for the first time in a long, long time. Actually, the biggest one of this scale that I've done. Just went to a ski resort where you stay on the mountain, you know, pretty much right along the routes on the slopes, and so you could just strap on and go down the hill in the morning. And just skied for 2 days, celebrated Christmas, skied for another 2 days. I hadn't done that in years, so it was exceptionally satisfying. It was also kind of a necessary mental break away from video games, I think, which I often think I don't need, but... I mean, I hadn't really even been playing that much recently because I've just been busy with so many other things, but still it was kind of nice to have a little bit of, you know, solitude and thinking time in a way that doesn't just involve staring at a screen. Because that's the thing, you get a surprising amount of time to actually collect yourself and think about things when you're going down mountains. Yeah, Netcat, I mean, I've skied for on and off for a big part of my life. I'm from Canada, come on. but it had been a couple of years since I'd last hit any mountain, so... But yeah, I learned when I was quite young. I'm not terribly advanced. I have some family members who are very advanced. But... Also, ski resorts are getting pretty high-tech nowadays. So the place that I went to, it basically had a companion app that would geolocate you as you go, and then it would basically track your stats through the day, and it would have like an achievement system and a daily and weekly leaderboard and all these other bells and whistles on top of... oh yeah, and also a way to kind of network of people you know to see on the GPS where everybody is on the hill, so you can actually plan where to meet up and which chairs you're riding and so on. And see the group statistics for the day. Well, you're supposed to hit the blocks to stop the snowball. You're not supposed to race it. I can't believe it took me that many attempts to figure that out. I was too busy talking about skiing in this snow level of yours. And it was all downhill from there. Okay, bump. There we go. That's more sensible. Okay, well, this is a bit of a reading challenge, I guess. You bump the snowball and you just follow it. And that turns it into the off state. The POW hits the snowball. You have to hit the POW when the snowball is between the POW and the on-off switch. Basically, you're chasing the snowball, you hit the POW before it hits. No, because you don't get in contact with the POW unless you tap the snowball when it is under the POW. You tap the snowball when it's under the POW. That's got to be it, because you don't actually have contact with the POW directly due to the bumper. I don't know, Netcat. It's very difficult to actually come up with anything that truly is expected of you as a Canadian. But oh, whoops! No, I forgot to stop the snowball. But that's because it's such a big country as it is, and also a very, you know, diasporic, migrant-heavy country in ways that are totally different from region to region. And nevertheless, lots of people learn to ski. And you see a lot of international visitors. So one thing that might not be obvious to you, actually, if you're not actually in Canada, and particularly in the ski resort areas or the national parks, is how heavily staffed it is by Australians. If you go to the ski resort towns in winter, the English that you will hear from staff is majority Australian English. Whoops, no. I feel like we're supposed to get a double tap here on the snowball to do it. Like, you know, you kind of give it a kick so it hits the power on the side, right? You lift it a little bit to give it a kick on the side. And it's something that, you know, you just totally take for granted when you're here, but it probably would surprise you to know if you're not from here and hadn't seen that before. And yeah, definitely during the ski season, you know, see that a lot of people around you are actually international travelers. There we go. And we are going for this, obviously, whatever it is. Very cheap. And then this is just a goal, so okay, fine. That cat, you used to live by the coast, and as a kid, you couldn't believe there were people who didn't know how to swim. Exactly. It's second nature to you if it's practically a requirement to live there. So. Okay. That's it for a spherical switch box. Yeah, we'll try to do all three of these. And we'll see if we have time for anything afterwards. I did mean to run this as just a single maker stream because it was kind of just a good excuse for a technical test that would be just the right length. And also a great opportunity to just clear the queue of the Mang backlog. Sleeping sleeping butels, not beauties, butels. Shish, it's Christmas night. Don't wake them up with your horribly loud jumps. Okay. Let's wake the butels. Ooh, lovely tree. And this one's sleeping. And what happens if we... Oh. Oh, I see. Okay, so it shows you that if you bop it... Wait, I'm curious about this. Let's see. So there's going to be a switch reset here. If you bop one, then what's the trigger? If you hit it... It's like a proximity trigger, actually. It's if you're within range, you can see that you activate it when you're slightly about to make contact. So the beetle is more of an indicator more than anything of the switch activation zone. Like if you get within the switch activation zone, like if you just kind of nudge over the corner like that, you see the switch activation. So it's kind of this whole 2x2 box that it's in is within the activation zone, so we have to be aware of that. So yeah, it's not making contact with the beetle that... Oh, maybe it's not just that. It seemed like I was out of the contact zone that time, but let's see. Or maybe it's a... Okay, so it's not that. It's actually something else here that's going on. Maybe it's if you make contact with the Zeds? I don't know. Let's... That can't be it. I'm just trying to think about what the switch trigger could be. Like, would we walk over? Oh, maybe it's a jump. Yeah, it is a jump indicator. I think the description of the level actually said that. Because it says that you can't wake them up with your horribly loud jump. So it actually is just a jump detector. Which means you slide in. And you slide in, and you're perfectly fine. So yeah, it's not a hitbox thing, it's a jump detector. Which I should have noticed, actually. Especially with the night theme being what it is. But then that means you need to get a high bounce off the beetle. So you only use the jump button for high bounces, not for jumps that would trigger the detector. Because being a night ground theme, I assume it's a poison mushroom trigger. But then, hang on, let me watch the bottom right again. So yeah, it's beetle getting triggered there. I would assume it's a poison mushroom trigger. That's how I would think about building it, but... Hang on, let's try to do this again. Nope. So... Let's see. When it's in beetle form, then let's just practice making contact with it. Yeah, and you don't want to overshoot. Because then you would have to reset. Because you do want it to be in the original Buzzy Beetle form to do this properly, I think. Okay. Maybe. We'll find out. Not very accurate about this. Oh, I'm trying to get the high bounce here, and... Yeah, because if it's just in shell form like that, you tap into it, and so you're still technically grounded. Whoops. We'll just practice the contact until we're very clear and consistent about how to get the high bounce. If you get... Yeah, if you're kind of into the bounce... No, hang on. Let's get back into beetle form. Or we could just wait and let it wake up, I guess, but... We did it, we just overshot that one time. Oh, nope. But can we do it if we bump in this way? Yeah, you can. So it can be in the shelled form, and that's still okay. We just need to be very accurate about when you're pressing. I think we just need to walk through. I mean, it's SMP1, we can't pick that up anyway, but... You would need to bounce towards that, and then... Yeah, let's see. Nope, too early. There we go. Okay. Nope, and then I landed on the beetle rather than on the spring, so too bad. I love how the whole crowd of beetles there is saying too bad, because they're actually monitoring you off screen, like in a surveillance room with the one-way glass the whole time. And just watching you as you're inside their Christmas test chamber. Oh, nope. You need to hit that. Yeah, because we need to hit it in order to run over to the other side, so let's get over here again. Nope. Yeah, I need to hit the piranha, land right, and then go back to the left to land on the spring. The audio is actually a good cue for when it is safe to hold down jump. I still missed it, but... You knew this was going to happen, that I would bounce around here for this long? Whoops. Okay, there we go. Oops. There's an easy way to get to bounce every time. Interesting. Well, it's not that. Oh, you know what? You know what? This is SMP1. You used a spin jump because you can't spin jump in SMP1. You hold down the R trigger the whole time whenever you need a high bounce. Yeah, because I just read the Zs there as a sleeping indicator because, you know, that's... Reminds me of another level, like from the Super Boom Boom world. Where the Zs were also... Or was it the water mechanic that I'm thinking of? Like the kind of water block breaking mechanic that was in that one level that we talked about ages ago. Okay, we still need a good bounce off that window. No, we don't want to hit jump there. We do need to just do that without jump button, because it doesn't work with jump button on the spring. Yeah, that's the thing, because, you know, my habit, of course, is to read this and just immediately think, oh, this is just a lovely little thematic indicator. And, of course, as somebody who doesn't take indicators seriously enough, I just didn't think about using the trigger. Oops. Well, okay, mechanically that is suddenly much less forbidding, much more consistent. There we go. Oh, no, not quite. We want it nice and high. And just bounce until we get it. Okay, here we go. And then let's just try to catch it like this. Good. And we just need to land accurately. So we just need to never hit the jump button in this level. If we can at all avoid it. Oh, do we need to hit the question block? Yes, we do. Because then we can hit this. And then go over here. Very nice. Really neat idea, in fact, this little bit here. That you just have it available on the bottom track at all times because you can just reposition it whenever you like. Very neat. So you break this and then send it over, but then you send it back and then continue. Just to reiterate what we had learned. Okay, now you have a time-sensitive auto-scroll. And then, oh, I slowed down a little bit too much there, I think. And then we missed a spring. So I was supposed to pull back a little bit to land on that and then bounce over. And then you have a buzzy drop on the left side. Or from the ceiling, rather. Oh, no, needed to hit that. And we missed it. Okay, well, let's just get squished. And not reset the level. Sometimes it might help with the auto-scroll section to do some short bounces. Just for timing reasons, but we'll figure that out as we go. We don't want to do that, obviously. We want to just drop it and then proceed once it comes up. Yeah, timing seems pretty generous, from what I can tell, but nope, not if we do that, though. Yeah, imagine we were still trying to do this with the standard jump button the whole time, and wondering why I was being so inconsistent. I totally thought I could bounce on top of that, and I think you can. That's how you're supposed to. You are supposed to do it, but I just underestimated how high it would bounce towards me there. Okay. Down. No, missed it. But you are supposed to let that bump you. I'm just thinking about where to stand when it does so. Kind of curious how you'd kill the player if they jumped here. Natcat, let's take a look. It probably blocks you at some point. Yeah, you see it, blaster. It's actually blaster triggers. That's nice, actually. That the level kind of keeps you guessing about that until you actually do trigger it. But if you just never hit jump button, you're not going to trigger it, right? Like if you've learned at this point that you should just never hit jump. But then that's the check. It's just with on-off switches using blaster blocks as the spawn block wall. Which is kind of the natural and elegant solution. A little bit behind on a scroll here. There we go. That's good, except we missed it. Yeah, we're supposed to catch the cannonball off the shell, but I was a bit behind on the auto-scroll for that anyway. if we start to have problems with auto-scroll, we will look at doing some short bounces that we were previously doing, but I think so far this is more or less correct, though. Oh, missed it, and that's going to be too late. Yeah, too late. It's not going to spawn the next cannonball in time. Fall onto the dry bones over there, head right past a donut to launch the next shell. We'll see about that when we get there. Oh, no, forgot to kick. I just squish and die. Yeah, you can definitely shave that a little bit in terms of time, that first bounce. Just buy as much auto-scroll time as we're able. Totally missed it. Oh, totally missed that too. We're way behind. Just gonna see what's over here. Basically, kick, kick, and then... Doesn't break that though, because we have to hit from the bottom to launch it. We have to hit from the bottom to open that up and reposition the shell to the right. We'll get there. Oops. Okay, now we'll hit. And then, oops, aimed a little poorly, but the timing there is correct. So we got into that jump correctly, we just pulled back a little too far. I'm trying to continue off the cannonball. Yeah, that's how the coins are trying to guide you in that segment. Nope. Nope. Too early. We should wait until the cannonball fires, so we have something to position ourselves against. Trying to shave a little bit of time on the early jump there, but don't quite have that yet. Yeah, the jump towards this ring can be a controlled jump as well if you're really out of time for some reason. Nope, bad timing there. We do need to hit this on the first one just because the cannonball synchronization depends on it. Yeah, that could be a low bounce, but we just haven't been that crisp about executing it. Okay, bump. And up, there we go. And then we should be able to catch this one. Perfect. And then we bump up here. We needed to race that over. How do we race that over? Unless we... No, we have to wait for it to bounce back, actually. We don't want to race it over. We want it to bounce back. And we wait to catch up to it. Whoops. Yeah, we don't race it. We let it get one deflection, then we head up, and then we jump off of it. Okay, that's smoother, slightly. Okay, there we go. We'll just optimize slightly whenever we can. Oh, nope, too early. And Natcat, you'll bring us a snack. Yeah, don't forget the cheese, right? Enjoy your snack retrieval. Okay, and then There we go. Well, almost. Almost. Better momentum control there, but that's what I'm going for, is that extra deflection on the top buzzy instead of trying to race it. I think that should still work the way I've mapped it out. Just with better momentum control on the way up. Whoops. Nope, look at that, way too high. And Mang, yeah, you'll be catching the VOD. Glad to hear it. We will push through as much of this collection as we can. And like I said, 9MC is going to be hopefully later this week. It looks like things are working pretty well with the stream as far as I can tell, so. I just wanted to check that before I went to the 9MC levels. And really committed to them. So yeah, there will be more Mang to come even after finishing this set. There we go. Oh, we're supposed to displace. Okay, good. But then we have to rush through. And then climb the vine. Okay, given the back and forth there, I assume that we're going to hit the end of the auto-scroll at that point. There's no way we're being crunched for the auto-scroll if we have to go all the way right and left with a vine climb. So we should be able to take that segment patiently once we get through the shell gate that we've created for ourselves. I'm way behind on time this time for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, yeah, way behind. The auto-scroll synchronization was not working at all that time. Desynchronization with my position as the player, rather. Yeah, we were too slow on something, I didn't see what. Okay, probably just spent too long going back and forth here. Yeah, gonna have a lot of trouble with the pullback that allows you to hit the question block accurately. That's something that is a known issue right now with the way we're playing this. And then, whoops, no. Okay, bounce, bounce. Good thing we had the maker present here for exactly the moment when I was told that, oh yes, you can in fact get the bounce reliably. One little backseat hint that perhaps would have saved a bit of time. Yeah, no, we're supposed to just stay on the bottom shell until we bounce the shell over. It took me a long time to read that interaction last time, but we do have plenty of time to catch up on that. If scroll stop happens after Divine Climb in the Captain Toad segment, as it were, at the very end, as I would expect. It's kind of interesting that this is sort of an honorary Captain Toad level in some ways, except, you know, it actually does a no-jump condition better than Nintendo does themselves, because Nintendo implements it as a don't land on the ground after leaving it. But this level actually is a no-jump level that still allows you to get a little bit of aerial movement, right? So, in some ways it works a lot better conceptually than how Nintendo tried to enforce that with their own implementation. Of course, the worst thing about the no landing condition is just how clear condition text covers your whole screen, and, you know, you just enter a level like that and fail it before you know what's going on. Oops. A little bit behind on timing here because of that error, but... Okay. Yeah, scroll stop as expected. And then we just bounce, And then, no, if you don't hit a good timing there, it's going to be difficult to get out alive. Let's get, we know it now. Oh, it took too long here. I just need to shave some jumps elsewhere. Try to get back on track. Okay, need to hit that accurately, and then... I was about to say plenty of leeway there, but we were a little bit slow that time. Anyway, let's tap that. And that. Pull back quite aggressively. Oh, whoa, look at that. Overshot that time. We got tons of momentum going into the Buzzy that time. Much more than I expected. So let's tap. And this goes down. Oh, nope. Okay, can we salvage this one? Yes, we can, for once. It's the first time I've been able to salvage that kind of situation. Oh, we missed the first tap. Okay. Nope. I mean, we don't need to run towards the Buzzy right away after getting off the vine. We can pull back and stop for a moment so we can have a bit of a closer approach. And not so much of a latency from input to output, I guess, when we're trying to determine when to get into the dash and getting on the Buzzy up top in the middle row. Yeah, plenty of time to think about it here at this point. So, yeah, I don't think we... Well, maybe we need full momentum, that's the only thing. In order to get to bounce properly. Given it's a Mang level, I kind of feel like we need full momentum coming off of this. Yeah, so that time I just decided to hit the spring at exactly the time that the chime was ringing, thinking that maybe there's an intuitive synchronization there, and that actually did turn out to be the case, so that was successful. Worked out quite well, in fact. Ah, now we have to get over somehow. But that's okay, because if we jump, that's fine, because we get the blue block, and that allows me to continue. Yeah, so we killed a little Buzzy by jumping. And then we enter this in the off state. Unless it automatically triggers back, which it might. Yeah, I think it does. So, hard mode, here we come. Oh, it's Boom Boom, of course. You know, we actually didn't see Boom Boom in all the levels today, did we? Maybe we did. Okay, so we need Boom Boom to not destroy some of this. So yeah, we just need to hit Boom Boom, but hopefully not in a way that leads to issues. So it just forces the state switch initially. What happens if I just jump here? Oh no, it makes it impossible to leave the door. Okay. Okay. Well then, let's sweep. Nope. Very interesting, just combining Flying Boom Boom with this simple mechanic. And that's an entire fight that's just unique to the mechanic that was introduced in this level. That was a very nice way to conclude this. We've seen this with so many different Boom Boom fights in Mang levels before, of course, where you just see Boom Boom somehow wind up being the final test of a mechanic that you've been trained on all this time. It's a nice way to get some unique boss fights. You know, so you have sufficient time to teach the player what to do with the mechanic. then, yeah, I think as you're sweeping him so far down low, you run into that problem where he just kills the buzzies. That's okay, one more jump should do it. We're not going to be very good about getting to 30 coins, I think, but... Oh, maybe we can. No, you kind of need to bounce on Boom Boom to get the 30s. So I don't think that's happening. And look at that, it's a poison tree. Can we jump? Yes, we can. So we'll... Oh, hey, we can do this. I feel like we're supposed to get all of them and something happens. I'm going to do it again. I want to see what happens if we get all of them, because I feel like there's something that is possible here. I'm thinking about how that trigger would work if there is something going on with power up limit. I don't know. But I want to see it. It's giving you that for a reason. Might just be a cosmetic reason, but there is a reason. Okay, let's get a nice quick kill here. If we can. And then let's tap the shrooms quickly without clinging onto all the vines. Okay, nothing, but I had to see it just in case there was some kind of trigger attached to that. Didn't look like there would be, but you never know. So, what are we going to destroy here? I mean, if you jump, it's going to do a state switch that blows up all the bombs and reveal some kind of pattern. Probably the Mang face, if I had to guess. And it just shows you the jump detector mechanism up top, of course. Oh, it's just a heart. Okay, okay. I was totally hoping for the Mang face. And we'll just break everything. And then... we do want to jump, though, right? Too. Oh, because the detector mechanism isn't going to do that for me. So can we reach the top of the flag if we're big? I'm going to try this. And luckily, it doesn't outright kill you when you try something that foolish. There we go. Top of the flag as Big Mario. That's how to do it. Notice, too, that it doesn't look like you can get over the flag when you're big to wrap around to the Boom Boom room. Although I didn't really try. That cat didn't have cheese but brought back poutine. That sounds delicious. Very appetizing. Amazing that poutine has been exported that far. I mean, it's quite global now, I guess, but... yeah, I mean, definitely when I was younger, poutine wasn't even a cross-Canada thing. Like, it mostly hadn't really left Quebec and some parts of Ontario. And then it very quickly sort of caught on Canada-wide. I remember quite clearly when all the poutinieries were just opening everywhere. Anyway, Dry Firework. This was a New Year's Eve level. Uploaded shortly before, and thankfully didn't need to be re-uploaded. Would be weird if they're wet. Happy 25th year, yeah. Oh, this is something conspicuous, by the way. Look at these two levels here. What do you notice about this that is unusual for a Mang level? With both of these. Very, very unusual. Luca's apparently on vacation or something. Because no Luca record on these for the first time in ages. I mean, there's, I think, maybe one very distant level in the original profile that was super, super optimized ages ago that was kind of unbeatable record-wise. But other than that, like, Luca's got almost a perfect record on the Mang World record times. So, anyway. We can always inquire about that separately, since Mang has left. Anyway, dry firework would be weird if they're wet. Happy 25th year. What was the clear rate on the last one anyway? Just out of curiosity, 1.89. So I guess everybody else understood the Z, but you would just not die from that necessarily. You would just have trouble getting out of the first room if you don't understand that well. Or the second room, I guess. Anyway, let's see some fireworks. Oh, I can jump again. That's a change. But I wasn't really watching what the triggers were on this. Oh, there's a pink coin collection. We'll go back for that. We're certain to die at some point anyway. Let's watch what the triggers are. When you jump onto dry bones, it launches them. I wonder if that's by proximity. It is by proximity, like when you get into that column. And yeah, we'll go back for that, of course. We will do a completionist run of it. How could we not? But looks like we might want to bounce on the one on the left side and get a better falling angle. The sound effect really completes this. It makes it work. I'm still not accustomed to being able to jump again. Yeah, because you raise the left one. You want to leave the one in the middle alive, actually, so you have a platform to jump off of on the right. Or rather, heading to the right. And then you don't get caught by the muncher here. You hit this far enough to the right that you can bounce off of it. How do I catch that guy? We'd have to go back this way, and you'd have to do it much faster. And there is a little dry bones that allows you to complete that movement and circle around, although the airship camera bob disguised it for a moment, so I didn't see that until it was rather late. So we do want to get ahead of the auto scroll then as soon as we can in order to reach that pink coin that we saw. Coin 2. Because it looks like it is kind of a matter of auto scroll speed. And yeah, small jumps down here, low jumps down here, and then we would need to catch that on the way back to the top left to catch coin 3. 3 out of 6. 3 out of 5 plus a safety, if I were to guess. Whoops, shaved that a little too close. But anyway, let's see what we can do here. And then we'll just head up this way. Yeah, trying to shave the jumps a little too tightly there as we're trying to get ahead of the auto scroll after spending all that time on the loop. But let's see what we can do with it. Yeah, we'll go down immediately. Buy as much time as we're able. Got it? Lots of time. Thought it might be something like that, and that was correct. So, we almost certainly need to throw, and then cross. And then, oh, too late. I just read that too slowly. That's coin 3, and then we see coin 4 peeking out at us in the bottom right. So who knows, maybe you do just have 6 coins in a section instead of 5 in a safety. But we'll find out. Yeah, getting here just as the donut block spawns on the right tells you that you're About as on pace as you're going to be. And yeah, we don't want to shape it that tightly. Like, we can kind of fall left if we don't want to go too high on a bounce, but we can't just fall immediately. Oh, no. Too close. Anyway, let's bounce. And bounce it again. And then over. Nope. Yeah, once again, we shouldn't fall immediately. You do kind of get enough of an angle that you could do that. It's just that we aren't quick enough there on a high bounce. So, yeah, maybe you can do it smoothly in one gesture. Again, typically, Mang levels are all designed and tested around just being able to catch as much as possible on a first cycle, so... Generally, if you're wondering if the immediate and impatient play is going to work, the answer will be yes. Which is not to say we can execute that, but usually it's accommodated in the design. And that's just the kind of thing that you pick up at about a maker after you've played them as comprehensively as I have in this case. You get a sense of what to expect in their design style and what they expect of the player, and what kind of behavior they'll reward. Which I do find to be the satisfying thing about... Oh, we forgot to hit this block. Well, now we have no shell. The satisfying thing about really understanding a maker's style and, you know, playing them very thoroughly. Get a sense of your whole catalog over time. It's kind of neat how with really any kind of discipline where the more you see of an individual contribution to the field and how they think about things and how they imagine them, that the more you get a sense of personal style as something that intuitively exists. Like, you can sometimes see that with the way people describe people's play style in things like strategy games, or of course it's just all over art and aesthetics, where you really see an auteur's touch in a cinema. Yeah, definitely a very strong sense of mechanical identity to... Oh, no, missed us again. How individual makers think about levels and how they've developed over time. I look back, it actually had been a very long time, apart from some Super Worlds last year, since I really featured one maker in a single stream. We used to do that quite a lot, back when it was the peak of my activity in Maker 2. But last year we did that with Super Worlds, but not really with anything else in terms of going through singles by a whole maker and their profiles, top to bottom. And I kind of miss doing that, to be honest. Oh, we keep missing this thing. We keep forgetting. Okay. Too much talking. Not enough thinking. But yeah, I mean, even before I was ever streaming Mario Maker, it was always my favorite way to play. You know, just find a profile that you like, with perhaps a level that has impressed you in the past. And you just go top to bottom and figure out what the Maker was up to. That's how we did Maker 1 last year as well, when we were sending off Maker 1 for its final farewell on live servers. Let's really understand how somebody developed. What kind of obsessions they have when it comes to tricks they find satisfying to test a player against. And things they challenge themselves to build with time. Okay, tap this. Then... Oh no, we don't want to bump that guy. I was trying to bump this one in the bottom here. So we release the big dry bones. I don't know why I double tapped that question block, because it was there, I guess. And we wanted to make it do the shiny thing. That's okay. Plenty of opportunities to catch up with some of the jumps here. High bounce feels safer, low bounce is possible. I keep forgetting this thing here. It's so well camouflaged, I guess. I mean, you know, its positioning is actually very obvious, but I always just glaze right over it as a target. Such an easy thing too. It's not even a mechanical trick or something. It's just purely a tensional test. Anyway, Nat Cat, you want to see some hops from Luigi? Yeah. Is Luigi brewing some beer?
Okay.
Brewing some lager. Luigi lager. Served, of course, at Luigi's Mansion. Of course, lager. The only thing that can kill a Vindaloo. Okay, let's tap this. Then we'll bounce this. I just shoot right past this every time. Just rocket right past this block, knowing that it's the thing we miss every time. It's purely psychological. It's just 100% psychological trap. Okay. And that's why you did a high bounce there. I had done the low bounce to cut that angle before, but it is a bit tricky and not really that necessary, so we should do the high bounce just to be safe. Maybe I'm slightly concerned that it's going to lose us too much in terms of time relative to the auto scroll, but no, it's a much safer angle. And there are ways to catch up on the auto scroll regardless, so. And then, yeah, we actually kind of outran the auto scroll a little bit there. Short bounce to the left, where I've missed it again. It's happened so many times at this point now. I don't know what it is there. Probably just maybe a bit of the auto scroll pressure on the left. And just the level training me to see dry bones as targets that we just run right past that block. I know it's there, I know I miss it every time, and yet. And yet. No, we don't want to push that quickly. So there is a bit of a forced resynchronization with the level there, in that you should not be outrunning that dry bone segment, even though the camera does pick up speed a little bit. So it does give you a moment to breathe. And give you a moment where you have to breathe, essentially. You can't just outrun. Yeah, here, camera accelerates a bit, but we do need to wait for it to give us some room, and then I bounce. Nope, no, I remembered it this time. I just ran past it anyway. And I often talk about how Mario Maker streaming would be really interesting with an eye tracker. And I think somebody told me that there is a person who does it. I just don't remember who it was. But anyway, the reason for that is so you can see how every time I'm not even looking at that note block until it's too late. Okay, we're not going to miss it this time. Are we? Well, we're going to miss the jump before that, so that's a change. I was trying to do the low bounce to the left that time instead of doing a high bounce straight up, and I shouldn't have done a sudden change in strategy when I was also thinking about something else that I have to do in order to succeed. But anyway, left we go. Yeah, Naked, I'll answer it in a moment when I have a moment to think about it. But okay, so this is where we hit the limit of our progression previously. We need to drop pretty far down below, like... So at NetCat, basically there are a lot of systems that allow you to sort of create a visual heat map of where you're looking on screen. It's something that's used in a lot of things like cognitive studies of, you know, how people watch cinema and all that, where you can create a visualization of where they are looking at the image. It's used in a whole bunch of perception studies, essentially. And there are a lot of tools for that. Whoops. I think it's because I'm always sliding out of that jump so quickly that I'm coming out of that dry bones at such an angle that, you know, I land and I just want to barrel forward and I don't think about slowing down. But yeah, that's what I mean by an eye tracking system, is that like you would be able to create a heat map of where the player is looking and display it on screen. I've seen it used with some other computer games before. Particularly with things like RTS, where, you know, you see where players are looking on the map. But definitely it's used for people who, whoops, do things like cognitive science with cinema. The idea here, and it's definitely used as a playtesting tool as well by game developers, that, you know, when they do QA and playtesting, that in studios that have the resources to do it, I'm pretty sure that a lot of them actually do playtesting that does monitor what people are paying attention to and what they're able to pick up perceptually. Like, that's part of what they will do as part of their QA. And okay, let's not back into that with a shell. Hit this quickly, and then we need to think about how that next coin is going to work. Oh. No, we need the second bounce to be when it's down on a coin. So we need to be pretty careful about that because of the fact that my bounce control is not very good in low gravity. I mean, I'm not the one in low gravity. The objects are the ones in low gravity in the airship theme. Fine distinction. We're too late on that. So I can time my jumps accurately. I just need to leave enough room on a drop that we can drop in on coin 4. And it should fall pretty quickly. Next time we get back there safely. Which will hopefully be soon. Again, the major roadblock here in this level wasn't even anything mechanical, it was just consistently missing that note block by running past it. This one here. Okay, let's not back out too soon. Oh, nope, missed it. And then it accelerates quite a bit, actually, so we're going to miss. Have I heard of that one game that transitions from scene to scene every time you blink? No, I have not heard of that. I don't think so, anyway. That sounds very interesting. Kind of reminds me of how one particular quirk of the Steven Spielberg film AI Artificial Intelligence is that Haley Joel Osment, who plays the boy robot in that film, does not blink in any of his scenes. He's actually directed not to blink in a shot. It's one of those things that, you know, it's kind of at the back of your mind when you watch the film, and then someone points it out and you realize, ah, that's what's going on. That's what's so uncanny about the performance. Nope, too far up. I should actually bop several of the bones so we have a bit of a fallback. Jump on towards the coin. We just haven't figured out the pattern yet. It shouldn't just be a double bounce. We need to drop multiple bones to do that safely, I think. Like, maybe even all 3 in sequence so we have a bounce pattern available and plenty of room for adjustment. Okay. Hit this. Yeah, that's the case as well for having the high bounce and the very steep angle going down, is that it's easier to not miss the other note block. Let's do multiple bounces. Much better. Much, much better. Okay, and then we go across the checkpoint. There we go. Checkpoint saved with 4 coins in the bag. Finally. And then we have a bit of a speed segment here. Natcat, you're saying it's called Before Your Eyes. I'll have to look that up afterwards. I have not heard of it, I don't think. I always find input systems to be kind of interesting. When I tried out VR a couple of years ago, I mean, it wasn't something that was immediately appealing in terms of games that are a natural fit for me. Like, very few of the games that are the kind I play would benefit from VR. You know, Mario Maker, how would that benefit from VR? But the most interesting thing I found about virtual reality headsets when I tried them on was actually the head tracking. Because in some ways, the standards that we have for camera control in 3D games are deeply unintuitive. You know, if you play games, you're used to them. You know how to use the mouse, you know how to use the right stick, etc. Because we've just had time to get used to that as an additional layer on top of controls that we have learned separately from that, you know, and that we've had time to practice with that and had time to figure out intuitive movements when it comes to resetting a camera behind your back or just naturally panning it around a character when you're playing in 3D, etc. But it's very easy to forget how unintuitive and camera control actually is, and how much of a learned behavior it has to be. And so head tracking was something that sort of jumped out at me immediately. I sort of realized when I was trying it that, okay, this is kind of like what the Wiimote was basically doing for aiming, right? Where, you know, it feels like there's still a gulf between game controls and intuitive human interfaces that still needs to be bridged, and that's clearly somewhere where there's a lot of room for game design to go. So, of course, I never really kept up with VR since. I mean, I'd love to try a VR Half-Life game at some point, you know, years in the future when I actually have a setup for it. Again, as I was saying, you know, with the styles of games that I typically tend to play, it's not immediately evident how something like a VR headset would be beneficial. Oh, vine climb. And vine climb to the right. We just need to spot this accurately and quickly. And we'll be looking for coin 5 somewhere in there, unless, of course, coin 5 is elsewhere here. No. I think we are correct in that there's going to be coin 5 in a safety. We'll just need to keep our eyes peeled for where that is. And cue the jumps. Nice and crisp. A lot of these big bones are going to be double taps, I guess. Or at least a bit of a soft drop there. Yeah, we need to not bump our heads. Let's catch up here. And bounce. It's there to clear the donut block. It's not there as something that we actually need to catch or use, I don't think. Unless, of course, it turns out the coin depends on it. But we will see pretty soon. Whoops. Not quite. And then, yeah, I keep doing that extra jump there, not really thinking about that one-way panel, and it slows me down rather excessively. So we get over this segment here. We want to get under the shell, but towards the donut block. I think we do still need to bounce on both big bones, but we really need to map that out a little more accurately after the shell launch. Nope, missed. It's a double tap. Because we've been whacked by the shell every time we got there, so we'll have to figure out what the adjustment needs to be. And then we overshoot this guy too, very often. So there is a little bit of a pullback against him that we will need to execute a lot more cleanly. Nope. Okay, bounce, bounce, bounce. And we're not going to double tap, we're going to just stay on pace. Well, apart from one additional bounce in the vine there, that was a little unnecessary. Low bounce over here. I don't know if we want all those additional bounces. We're too far behind. There is a checkpoint flag that is on the top left. Descriptive is we are so back. Very much so. And as far as I can tell, the audio problem is gone. We haven't seen it this stream anyway, and I'll have to check afterwards to see if we have any other issues with like pitch or latency or anything like that, but it feels like we actually did resolve that. And I don't want to speak too soon. Sometimes it's good for a few streams and then it's not. But then we made a big change. We changed up my capture card finally after 5 years. And it's a much bigger improvement than I thought it would be in some ways. And I've got a couple of other changes coming to the stream later this month, hopefully. And so we'll get our broadcasting quality largely fixed up. Maybe we do need to bounce in that shell. I feel like we do need to, otherwise we have trouble reaching the donut block with the momentum we have. I think we just need to beat it on the way over to go from the big dry bones to the shell and then to the donut block as it clears. Just haven't worked out the spacing for that yet. Okay, quickly. Oh yeah, no, it's definitely something that's hittable, and like it has to be the way to do it, which just haven't been very accurate. Okay, there we go. And then, whoops, totally missed a Van Kling, rather. And we'll just try to get back up there. That's been a roadblock so far, that buzzy shell launch. That's one thing we have not been able to get past. And all the while, we're still looking for coin 5. Although we're just about to hit checkpoint 2. Was just out of the corner of our vision. So hopefully we didn't miss a coin already. I feel like if it's right to left on that bones, maybe we don't need to hit the shell button. I just haven't really mapped out the momentum there properly just yet. We still have to sort that out. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's way better. I hesitated a bit too much on that. We're supposed to raise the right one and then sink to the left one to jump up to the platform to head to the flag. So it's going to be left, right, left, down to the flag. Very clear. I just hesitated a little bit too much on one of the bounces and didn't quite get the height required that was clear to clear it, rather. Yeah, very crisp when you do manage to hit it. That guy doesn't come up, really? I totally thought he would. What happened there? Oh, no launching mechanism under him. That's surprising. I think I missed something. I totally expected that he would just jump because, well, there's no mole under him, though, that you would need, because that's the whole launching mechanism for all of these that you see right on the screen. I hadn't been thinking about the launching mechanism all this time because you only start to see it on screen in this segment. You know, that's set up with Bomb Muncher Mole. And usually by the time it's relevant, you know, you're not really looking at it. So it's something that's pretty well, not concealed, but definitely sort of understated in the background. So you're thinking about the main mechanic of the bones coming up rather than the actual trigger mechanism. Again, another potential application of eye tracking. Seeing if the player is actually notice the way the setup is built and play around it accordingly. Nope, missed. We're very close to the flag. So yeah, I didn't see that we wouldn't be able to get through those second dry bones there. Okay, so that's curious because maybe we needed this shell after all. Maybe we are required to tap it and grab it. That's the only thing I can think of, is that we are supposed to collect a Buzzy Shell. Have I played Balatro? No, I have not. I've seen a lot of streamers pick it up early in the year. I'm just so massively backlogged at this point that we hadn't really made time for it, but I feel like we have to collect a shell. We have to jump it, we have to grab it. Because that's the only thing I can think of that's going to open up the Dry Bones Gate 2 checkpoint. But yeah, I mean, I first heard of Balatro because a couple of people who are normally Mario Maker streamers had picked it up early in the year. Descriptivist, the interesting thing is I almost never play games on mobile. I haven't in a very, very long time. I'm not someone who just idly plays games on mobile. It's just not really a habit of mine. But of course it's because I'm no longer doing lengthy commutes or something where you would want a nice handheld time filler. Yeah, usually, to the extent that I have the need for some kind of mobile time killer, I'm usually just doing, I don't know, chess puzzles or something. Pull up a couple of checkmate puzzles for a minute or two, but I find that I like the focus of sitting down at the desk if I want to play anything. Have I ever checked at Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney? Yeah, I have it on my 3DS, actually. I have the Ace Attorney collection on 3DS. And I still need to play it. I picked it up as one of the last things I got on the 3DS, in fact. And unfortunately, my 3DS battery has massive problems, so I kind of need to keep the system plugged in when I play it, which means it has severely hampered its practical portability. Funny as it may seem, if I come into some kind of windfall where I could just make some kind of luxury video game related purchase, I might actually pick up a new 3DS XL. My 3DS served me well for a very, very long time, but the battery has problems. The control stick broke off twice. And has not been fixed since. It no longer has a circle pad, essentially, because it broke off. And, well, the battery is kind of the main limiter. It's too bad because there's so many practical circumstances for having a 3DS in my pocket that the Switch was unable to replace because of the size and form factor of the Switch. And which mobile also does not replace. Like, I have a vacancy in my life for something that fills the function of what the 3DS did for many years. And occasionally I do go back to the 3DS to play a couple of games, but with the system plugged in, essentially. Like, it's tethered. And has to be, because the battery's just no shape anymore. I guess I could just get a third-party battery replacement and just plug it in myself, but it does mean that my 3DS usage declined pretty considerably after the battery problems showed their hand. Okay, here we go. This is how to do it. Except I need to, you know, actually jump over it. Ever consider jailbreaking my 3DS? Yeah, at some point. But I mean, I don't really have a good application for doing so, right? As in, I don't have a good reason to do it. There's not much that would benefit from that. I don't really need to use my 3DS for emulation or anything. But yeah, descriptive is I actually replaced my laptop battery earlier this year as well because it was dangerously swelling, which happens if you are like me and you have a habit of just keeping the laptop plugged in all the time. You're not supposed to do that. You are supposed to drain and cycle the battery over time. And that's true of many devices, actually. That, you know, you don't want devices to be stored with battery at 100%. You want devices to be stored, if they're going to be unused for a while, with battery at 50%. Because otherwise you have problems. Can you be forced to go into a pipe, or is pipe travel only possible by inputting directional movement into the pipe? Well, if you exit towards a pipe and you hit an obstruction, then you are forced back in. So, for example, if you try to re-enter a pipe, but it's blocked by something like a one-way panel or other hard collision object. Whoops. Okay, I want to jump up against that and sail over. Then you are forced back in without any additional input. So basically, if you come out of a pipe while it's blocked, then you're forced back in. But otherwise, you can't be forced to enter. You would just get squished against it. Now, there aren't really that many useful applications of that in Maker 2, apart from, you know, making sure that pipes behave one way and that you don't let the player go back to a previous room if it breaks anything. In Maker 1, it has potential applications that are not possible in Maker 2 because of the way that Maker 1 allows you to stack pipes so they aren't all just one-to-one. That, you know, you can have pipe A going to pipe B, and then you re-enter pipe B and it takes you to pipe C. You can do that, or at least create the illusion of doing that in Maker 1 in a way that is not possible in Maker 2. And so possibly the kind of forced pipe reversion actually does have a use there. I'm thinking about whether that would work, because it depends on pipe stacking, and I actually don't remember off the top of my head how pipe stacking logic works with being forced back into a pipe. But it's hard to kind of map that out in my head while I'm also playing, so. I'll just have to plug in the Wii U and check, won't I? Okay, so I do want to hit that cannonball to the right, I think, because otherwise I can't catch it. Just trying to figure out the timing here. Nope, hang on. Jump up. Maybe I need to wait slightly. Well, we'll see. Yeah, no, I have to wait before I launch. You don't launch immediately. Too soon. So, in some cases, you do need to wait for the appropriate timing. I still have not seen coin 5 anywhere. Yeah, you wait because the bones stop there, but then once it starts to sink, you're already too late. When you're kind of seemingly stopped at the top, that's when you want to go. And bop all of these. No, I'm supposed to jump over it because that launches it up, and then that'll raise the small bones. That will then be my next jumping off point. How did it fire that low? Oh, because I needed to step on it sooner before it. Right, the cannonball, perhaps? Yeah, bought that. Yeah, because I had it fire way too low, basically. You want it to fire the cannonball nice and high so you can get a good bounce on it. Was not really thinking about it consciously as something to control, so now that we've seen it, we will play towards it. Yeah, not great. We need to wait a little longer if it's going to arc that far. But it is possible with... Well, I mean, you have the auto-scroll to deal with, but with good timing, I think it is possible to get a nice, clean projectile to carry you over. There is going to be a sort of best timing for this, though. That should just be first cycle and all that. Yeah, a nice crisp jump over here, and then that'll be good. I mean, I do want to jump over that. I just came a little too close to it to get into the jump. Okay, bump that guy. And then over the bones here. Oh, yeah, I felt like that was potentially a bit of a momentum issue, but I think I also just caught it slightly low. I did spot pretty quickly that that would be the intended pattern. So it's not a reading problem, we just had a slightly suboptimal timing on the actual bounces. Okay, down this way, and then we just need to wrap around quickly. Yeah, and then we need to bounce... Do we get on top of the donut? I think we do, because then we can stop it and jump towards it. Unless we just bounce repeatedly, but maybe we don't. Maybe there are timing issues why we might not want to. Just ride the bones the whole way through. We still haven't seen coin 5 as well, so that's a consideration. Descriptive is, do you need to play the first 3 Donkey Kong Country games yet? I didn't know Super Mario Bros. Actually streamed. I've been following that account for a long time. It's one of the few video game accounts I actually follow. Because I don't really read a lot of video game social media, but I do read Super Mario Bros. And have for a long time. But yeah, particularly with the DKC Returns remaster coming soon. Which I had been saying on my stream for years and years is a definitive edition that really needed to happen. And I almost couldn't believe that, you know, for once Nintendo did exactly the thing I said they should do. That almost never happens. Yeah, I actually didn't know he had a stream. I definitely need to catch on to that. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, I definitely need to get on top of the right side ledge, then on top of the donut block, then we jump towards the bones. It's the right side ledge that was the missing element here. And yeah, DKC returns remaster next Thursday. So on the Wii, I never got 100% on it. And I never played it on 3DS either, which, you know, because the Wii, the problem was that the motion control for the pound in more intense platforming situations, I just found it too unreliable. And I say that as someone who generally loves and prefers motion controls. I kind of feel like in the Wii era, DKC Returns was the exception to that, where it's one of the few cases where I thought we just needed a button alternative to that. Particularly once I played Tropical Freeze and realized that, of course, I was totally correct about that. And so I was thinking all this time that, yeah, this is exactly the game that needs A, multiple control options, B, the additional levels on the 3DS, which I have never seen, and C, a high-quality presentation that is not the low frame rate presentation of the 3DS on its small screen. And so, I'm very pleased we're finally getting that. Tropical Freeze is a game that is very, very dear to me, arguably more than the original trilogy, I would say, even though Donkey Kong Country was a big deal for me back in the day. But Tropical Freeze was one of those games where like my appreciation for it just grew and grew and grew with time, where, you know, the more you play it, the more you realize what a masterpiece it is. Coin 5, yeah, that's fine, and there's no continuation up top, so this is correct. Oh, wait. Okay, so we're not time constrained here. We just need to cross over and bump the blocks when this goes up, and then get a safety coin. Yeah. So we don't get unexpectedly bounced by anything here or something. Okay, so we're going to get the key door. Are we going to get just a bonus room, I guess, but that's okay. But then we can bump these from below. And then what happens when we do? Well, this is going to be a big vertical climb. Potentially. Well, let's see. I don't see that there's anything else to do up here, though, because we're just in the main world zone, so. But I could be wrong about that. Could be something up top. Just trying to let the camera bob up there and see if we're potentially missing something. I don't think so. Anyway, I guess that's just a bonus room. So why is it you... Okay, I guess if you head down here, then you can't pick this up. I guess we'll just take the gold then. Wait, no, but there's a drop from... Okay, no, that's just where we came in that room. Let's take a look, just in case. I don't know if I missed anything with the secrets there. I don't think I did. But then why is there the one-way panel that is on the right side of the pipe? If there's... I totally missed something. I totally missed something. Top right. There's a pipe. Because what you need to do is you need to break all 3 blocks in order to let dry bones go up as high as you can. And then... it looks like in the top right, there is a potential secret? I don't know. No, does that look like a... No. That just looks like a wall. That just looks like a wall. Yeah, somebody who wants to check in level viewer can check in level viewer, but I think we actually did see everything. I'm just looking at the top right there and looking at the overhang and thinking, hey, that looks like it's traversable, right? If you maybe bust through all the blocks and let the dry bones go up. It's a Mang level. There's got to be some kind of boom trick or something here. I kind of want to redo it. I mean, we know the whole level at this point, right? It's not that hard to execute. It's just a little bit on the lengthy side, but... So, the thing I'm looking at is top right corner. Is that reachable and is that something? Because there's this one-way panel that was to the right of where you pick up the helmet, and we didn't interact with that. And that looks awfully suspicious. That at no point did we use that. That looks way too suspicious. Top right of the main world, Natcat. Do you think that's something, or is that a wall? Does that look like a pipe? I don't think it's the right color to be a pipe. But then I'm wondering, why is that there then, if it's not? I don't know. But it's also if you look at the sort of goal segment on the right side of the level. Oh, I wish I'd... Yeah, I don't have a controller that can do the zoom in, because I'm just on my Super Nintendo controller. But there's the one-way panel that points down that is to the right side of the helmet column. That is to the right side of the big vertical pipe where you come in. I didn't see what that one-way panel was for and what it implies. And I went into the bonus room. I came back out of the bonus room. Level code. Let me just type it in for you. Yeah, so I'm looking at the pipe and one-way panel to the right of it, and I'm just... Maybe it's just a wall on the right side. It kind of looks like a potential pipe entrance, though, right? It just looks so suspicious. Because I'm thinking, do the dry bones float up high enough if you potentially just break all the blocks and bounce on it way up? Then I'm looking too at where the bonus room was, because it's joined by a door. And the bonus room... The bonus room is just to the left of the final area. Okay, Natcat, you don't see anything. I was wondering about that one-way panel. I just don't know what that one-way panel was. I guess it's nothing. Yeah, because if you look at this, in the bonus room, you can kind of get on top of the middle column, maybe, but the camera isn't really going to let you, by the looks of it. Because I was bouncing on top of the bones, but I couldn't get on top of the center. But it doesn't look like it's anything. Like in the bonus room top center. That's probably nothing, right? Anyway. We'll do one more. This is one that I had partially play-tested for Mang a couple of weeks ago, so this one will be comparatively familiar. The other ones I played today, I don't think I had seen previously. Yeah, but this one we actually had seen the concept, and I love the concept for this one, but we will play the final version, and we'll close out the stream with this one today, I think. It'll be a short stream by my standards if we get through this smoothly, but that's okay. And I don't know how much it has changed from the version that was previously shown, so. Besides the star and 1-up. Oh, did I get a star? I don't know if I got a star. Anyway, so this is how this level works. You throw and use the throw to lift. But then I think I've also missed my chance here. Hang on. I don't remember if that actually was an SDE lock. Yeah, because you have to load the bones accurately, of course. And then the throw puts the munchers in place. Yeah, because I remember testing this and Mang saying that there would be a lot of tweaks. And so we'll see exactly what that amounts to. Whoops. Backed off a little bit too much there. Just distracted by that POW. So I remember the mechanic, but not really the specific setups, so many of which may have changed. But for how quick it is, if you know the mechanic, the readability is quite good. Notice too the very conspicuous yellow pipe that's on the top left. That very heavily implies running back over the ceiling once the opportunity presents itself. Yeah, this little swamp continuation here is quite neat. And then here we just bump out as many as we can. Oh yeah, we bump them to have something to land on to pick up the POW, but we need to have a better timing against that so we can actually hit the dry bones before they make contact with the lava. Yeah, the lava change in terms of enemies having hitboxes in lava is one thing that I am not quite so fond of when it comes to changes between Maker 1 and 2. It's very conspicuous, and I think it was for the worse. Although, of course, we have seen some levels that take advantage of that. And really make use of the way it works in Maker 2. I'm thinking actually very specifically of that one pokey level by Luca, which is also a concept that I think Document used, where you see individual pokey segments die off piece by piece as they sink. Oops. That's one of the only things that does maintain collision as it dies, because, you know, death is per segment. Okay. Got that. Load it. Notice here that that actually looks like it's potentially a gap that allows you to cross over to the ceiling on the left. Maybe, unless you have to run it all the way from the end. But every ceiling gap is potentially significant. Like, if you load this here, unload the POW, jump on top of it, jump on top of the bones, I wonder if you can get up to the left immediately. I feel like it's worth trying. I don't know if this is something I had previously solved in an earlier version. Oh, no, out of range. So you pick up the POW, you just kind of drop the POW immediately to the left, and then use that to climb up under the bones. This faintly rings a bell. I feel like it's something I had tried before. Because you know there's going to be some kind of pathway to the yellow pipe that is shown to you at the very beginning. out of range again. Yeah, wrapping around, if you do it accurately, is the best way to do it. And then you just get a really nice bounce off that wall. Yeah, much closer this time. Oh, whoops, I missed a grab. I just got bunched up against the POW because I backed away from it too early. I was trying to pick up and then face left, but we faced left too soon. Nope. Again, slightly out of range. We need the thwomp to get tossed a bit further. Oh. Okay. We'll grab these. Come on. Nope. I wonder why it is that I'm feeling load the thwomp very far. I think I'm actually triggering it prematurely, perhaps. Or throwing too late. Maybe I'm not getting a good angle on the throw. That way. That should be closer, right? Oh, no. Okay, you can't do that. I was definitely wondering. Okay, so that's not the solution. Yeah, you actually have to go all the way to the right and then go back, I think. But... I felt like I'd done it. Maybe that was a change that was based on my playtesting. Or maybe we had triggered the same thing earlier. I don't remember. I remember I must have at least tried that. Okay. No, too far. I only just realized I had totally glanced over the question descriptive as put in chat earlier. How many planets spin clockwise? I think the answer is 1. Actually, no, I don't remember if it's clockwise or counterclockwise. I do remember that it's... I think just Uranus, I think, that is sort of opposite in its spin. I may be wrong. I shouldn't make up an answer on stream when I can't actually look things up, but it's the kind of thing I used to know. I may be totally wrong. That kid, I don't think the bot works anymore. It hasn't worked in a long time. I think it was taken offline or something. Oh yeah, no, we need to toss against this to launch it. I was too busy still thinking about what we were doing previously with trying to get on top of the dry bones there. Now, kid, increasingly I'm hearing that younger generations actually are using large language models as a replacement for search engines, because which has a couple of dangers if you're just relying on that to give you correct answers. I mean, you know, nowadays even search engines like Google are also doing AI-assisted summaries as top-line search results as well. But if you want to find something out, you know, that seems like a particularly bad way to do it. Part of it, though, is that traditional search engines have really fallen off in recent years, I think, in terms of their usefulness, just because everything's been SEO'd to death. And that search results are increasingly indistinguishable from ad spam. Even to the careful observer. But okay, back here. So, there we go. That's correct. And then we launched a whole stack. And then use it as a boat, but we didn't launch it far enough, actually. We need a bit more forward momentum going into the throw to launch it further. So your running speed into the throw actually does matter for the momentum transfer. That was the issue we had with the thump, I think. We want to run towards it, as the arrow suggests. Oops. Oh, it's basically only Venus. Okay, okay. Yeah, I was thinking about the tilt of Uranus, that it's askew. Like I said, this is the kind of thing I used to know. Okay, there we go. But yeah, NatCat, that's just a result of how large language models like ChatGPT actually work. I mean, you know, they're only as good as the data set that they're based on, and the whole basis of their functionality is to sort of convincingly simulate language activity that has already happened. So you're not going to get any kind of check on the correctness of an answer, really. Apart from lots of people having said it, which is no real sign of correctness. And so I feel like it's going to be a major disinformation risk going forward, that, like it already was before things like ChatGPT, is that, you know, a lot of things that are misinformation just get circulated as common knowledge, and then they get reinforced as common knowledge just because of the way that internet search works. And that cat, yeah, I get it. Now that Pluto's been demoted, we don't talk about Planet 9 anymore. No, but it's just the 8 main planets plus the, like, everything else is under the dwarf planet classification now, right? Not just Pluto, but the other ones as well that are further out. Nope, missed it. That's okay, we can go for it again. You have to be pretty quick about that. So we need a nice good run. That's what the arrow is for. And then, oh, no, we're way too late. I do need to jump after it. I was just thinking that I didn't want to hit my head against the munchers, but that time it was actually enough distance. We just slowed down too much before trying to get into a jump. Nope, that's okay. That's salvageable. Yeah, so you can control your throwing distance based on your angle and speed. Yeah, we do want to still be on the right side of the bones for that. Oops. Okay, what's have this, and then, whoops, totally missed that. Very early throw that time. I mean, the arrow does tell you where its throwing location is in terms of what's going to function. Well, NatCat, as far as the sort of mega planet beyond Pluto theory goes, that was something that was speculated upon for most of the 20th century because of the way that I think it was something about Neptune's orbit that was unaccounted for by Pluto's gravity, basically. And that's what the conjecture was founded on, was that you needed something to account for. Something that was askew about Neptune's orbital path, but I'm trying to think back to this. I haven't read about this stuff in a long time. Yeah, Bellatro taught you to name it as Planet X. Well, yeah, because I always grew up with it referred to as Planet X, which may or may not be Planet 10. Which also features heavily in Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century, because they arrive at Planet X that actually is shaped like an X, right? Okay, so we drop that, and then we need to open this gate here. Oh, missed it. It's funny because it looks like you could totally still make that, but you would need to get through the dry bones there. We need to not forget that we still have this yellow pipe to account for on the left side. Nope, lost too much momentum after the one-way panel. I don't know enough about Bellatro to understand why that would even come up there. Because I thought it was a game where you make hands of cards or something, right? Which maybe oversimplifies it, given that people put hundreds of hours into it. That's the other thing, is that I know that I never get as much time out of games in roguelike formats as I think I will. It was kind of like that with games like Slay the Spire as well, where I really enjoyed my time with it. It's clearly very deep, but I don't tend to push repetitions as far as a lot of people do in games like that, even the ones I do enjoy. Same goes for some of the more combat-oriented ones like Hades, Dead Cells, etc. Really enjoyed those games, but they're not games I play indefinitely as my main thing, like some people do. Okay, let's tap that. No, you're supposed to bounce, and then I just left for that jump a little bit early. And NatCat, you're saying the planet Vulcan. What you're looking for is infinite diversity and infinite combinations. Whoops. Okay, let's tap this and go. Okay, that's a clear bounce that time. Okay, this bit, yeah. I kind of thought that was going to happen. Bowser's sitting on top of the axe, but we don't want to get on the axe. We want to get over to the pipe on the top left, so we'll do that. I feel like I must have made the same mistake in playtesting as well. I kind of remember something to that effect with the Bowser fire. Bounce this. Get within the swamp range. Whoops, totally missed. Yeah, start over. I had to kind of mentally check. Okay, I'm not past checkpoint. This is a level that just starts, you know, from the beginning, one segment. Apart from whatever was past that pipe. I only played the early version of this a few weeks ago. You'd think I'd remember. But I don't. Okay, there we go. Not that. Nope, totally missed once again. Yeah, descriptive as far as the NVIDIA presentations at CES have gone. I don't know if you saw what happened with the whole quantum computing stock bubble. But basically, Jensen Huang made some kind of offhand remark about certain applications of quantum computing in terms of the performance you can get out of it being something that you consider in like a 20-year time frame. And then this was after, you know, Google had revealed the Willow chip a couple of weeks ago, and all these quantum companies were suddenly surging, right? Because everybody was taking this massive interest in quantum computing. And then basically after the remarks that were made yesterday, I think it was actually today that it happened, that like the entire quantum market just kind of tanked 50%, which was really kind of remarkable to watch. Yeah, because, you know, in recent weeks, like around Christmas, people were just making money hand over fist just by playing the quantum stocks, right? And then here comes Jensen, who's like, this is 20 years off. And then, I mean, he was talking about a very specific kind of problem. Like, the way I heard it framed was that, you know, rather accurately, he's saying that quantum is in a very different space from what NVIDIA is doing, in that the problem set is low information, high compute, etc. Because, like, basically, you know, you're not dealing with very high volumes of data in quantum just because of the limitations on how the data transfer actually works, but then you get the sort of huge efficiency gain from, you know, how time complexity differs when it comes to quantum versus classical computing. This is this is something that I actually do know how to explain, but probably can't while I'm playing Mario Maker. I'm also probably about a decade outdated in that field. But like, my understanding of what's going on in quantum space is about a dozen years out of date. And anyway, let's jump. Okay, now just need to be accurate about this path. No, that was not accurate. Just this obstacle here, and then we need to not die to Bowser Fire. Yeah, I remember this now, that you go all the way back to the top left, you enter this yellow pipe, then you see the bonus room that sends you back to the yellow pipe that is above the entry to the Bowser room, the one that's surrounded by all the one-way panels. So it sends you back to a second round with Bowser, basically, if you go back that way. I do recall seeing that, and successfully exploring it when I played the previous version. Yeah, Natcat, thanks for dropping by for so long. It's great to see you again, and it's good to have confirmation that you are also back streaming, because I did not know that. Although that's partly because of the very odd times that I've been keeping. So thank you for hanging out for so long, and do enjoy these levels if you get a chance to play them, if you haven't already. After 9MMC, I will be back to 100% complete on this Mang account. I'm not quite at 100% on Mang's old account, because I'm missing some of the older material from 2019. Still. But I am pretty close to being caught up with Mang %. That'll be something on the agenda for this year for Mario Maker, particularly, you know, because, of course, there'll be a lot of attention moving to the Switch successor system later this year. But in terms of Mario Maker 2, we'll try to tidy up completionism in a lot of profiles that we've been playing for a long time. Like a lot of regulars on our various features of community projects, viewer levels, etc. You know, good makers, essentially. We'll just make sure we've covered all the cracks. And if I am boosting the performance and quality of the stream again anyway, I might actually want to re-record a lot of personal favorites and revisit them for some new commentary. But we'll see. But yeah, definitely hoping to pick up a bit with the Maker 2 that we do here, which in the past 2 years have been sagging a little bit. I was very surprised to discover that I actually had streamed more viewer levels in 2024 than I had in 23, because I felt like I did so little of it in 24. But in 23 we also had huge breaks in Mario Maker, because I spent months and months doing first of all Fire Emblem Engage, and then Tears of the Kingdom. Like, that took up months of the stream. just between those two. And last year it seemed like I wasn't doing much in terms of viewer levels because we spent so much time on Maker 1, which I did end up playing quite a lot more than Maker 2. This year, Maker 2 will largely be competing with the massive backlog that I still have on hand on the Switch. Not all of which will be streamed. But we'll determine what's best in terms of streaming content. Obviously, we still have to finish Prince of Persia. I'm at 70% on it currently. Oh, I actually threw the Paladin and caught it again, and then we died to fire again. No, because I was just about to throw it, and I actually caught it in midair when I was just about to release. Because I didn't like my positioning there, and then... Well, that's the second time we died to Bowser Fire in that position. So yeah, I'll go over this at the end of the stream, but basically the priority, now that I've actually checked to make sure that we are in very good shape with my new capture card, is we'll be doing 9th Mario Maker Celebration as soon as we can, probably later this week. That's my intention anyway, unless we have any unforeseen problems. And then we are going to finish Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which we began in late November. Which isn't even that long a game, we just didn't get to stream much in November, December, so I've been taking unusually long with it. And yeah, we're at 70%-ish and should be done soon, I think. And we'll see how soon we get to Donkey Kong. I would like to do Donkey Kong Country Returns at some point, but I don't know if it'll be soon. But I have a lot besides that to stream, and we'll try to stay regular with Mario Maker. Like I was saying, you know, one of the reasons why I hadn't been streaming as much was simply because it had become quite frustrating to deal with many of the technical issues on the stream. So the fact that we're addressing them, I think, will hopefully mean that I'm going to be on quite a bit more. Descriptive is, in addition to the 52-card deck, Balatro also features special Zodiac-themed cards, consumable items that create certain effects. Oh, okay. So it does have cards for the planets and the dwarf planets. And a planet question mark card, I see. An exoplanet card, perhaps. I was saying to someone a while ago that one of the biggest changes in my lifetime in terms of something scientific that has moved from being mostly speculative to being just common knowledge is just exoplanet detection. That it's kind of amazing how recently it was that we didn't really have positive evidence that exoplanets orbited other solar systems. We just kind of assumed it would be true. And it's just been the basis of science fiction for so long, but it's remarkable to think how quickly that happened. That suddenly you're just detecting thousands and thousands of planets on a regular basis, once they honed a method to do so. And that we can actually have a meaningful conversation now about habitable zones. And it isn't just a wild assumption. That would be one of the two things. The other thing that I think has become something that went from scientifically novel to common knowledge would actually be feathered dinosaurs and dinosaurs' relationship to birds. It's really kind of interesting to look back at a film like Jurassic Park from 1993 and see how it was depicting what we now know about the dinosaur-bird relationship and the dinosaur extinction theory, for that matter, in the early 90s is something that was very bleeding edge at the time and not widely accepted just yet. I mean, of course, once they found a crater, that was a big smoking gun, but... So descriptive, as you're saying, Earth upgrades your full houses, Mars upgrades your 4 of a kinds, Planet X upgrades your 5 of a kinds. Interesting. So... Well, a very elegant way to represent that thematically, I guess. Yeah, like I said, I have really no understanding of how Balatro actually works. I just have glanced at a lot of streamers I know playing it, but... We'll get to it eventually, I'm sure. It does seem like the kind of thing I would want to learn and figure out, but... Oh, Bowser Fire there almost sniped me. That was very inopportune. That's the third time now. I should not have gone for that. That was reckless. Well, that's okay. More time for conversation about planets. Okay, that was clean. Then all this is relatively second nature by now, as long as we get this throw accurate. There we go. Yeah, Bowser Fire RNG is always going to be a bit of a risk factor. Yeah, okay, nice clean opportunity there, except we missed. Whoa, no, and then I got zoned out by the dry bones, and there we go, sniped by the fire again. Dry bones were not leaving me a lot of room to work with there. Okay. Run over. And pop it. Oh, double shot there. Okay. There we go. And then we don't want to step on the X, as you know, and then I am going to get the other POW just in case we have a reason for it. I think you're required to wrap around. I mean, you could try to tap the X on the right side, but we're going to go all the way to the left. Taking the POW with me, I wonder what that does. But we will find out. So we have an extra POW to work with, essentially. I wonder... I mean, that's not going to help, in fact. We want to drop it. But I wonder if something is cheesable with it, like if you... Probably not, because we don't want to load a muncher when we do need to throw it to reposition the bones. But it does make me wonder if we can just skip that POW and then... Yeah, we can just skip it, right? By bringing a POW all the way over. In fact, I wonder if that means we can just have an additional POW by running the snake block over, and then not using the POW and then jumping back on top of the drop bones to come over here. I'm gonna try it, since we're past checkpoint anyway, because then we have a spare POW, essentially. And then we have a spare POW. Well, at this point, we can't really use it. Because the idea is that you would jump over here and grab it, but then... and bounce out. But yeah, we'll just skip that one then. But having the second extra power doesn't really benefit you then. Or does it? Because we need to... well, we need to throw towards it, obviously, but then... we'll go from there. Because then how do I... oh, no. Because I feel like we could just drop a single tile off that platform. Well, anyway, I guess we should do this properly. And just grab this POW, and then we're back in the same situation we were in prior to that. Where we have to tap that first. Yeah, that was it. That we need to tap it on the way over. Yeah, so descriptivist, you're saying that there's a bit of a card rarity effect as well then? With foil cards and like. Okay, that's accurate. And here... I think we just need to throw from here, don't we? No. That's wrong. I was trying to get the bounce on it to push to stack, but... that looks incorrect, so... okay, we'll bounce this. And... this... yeah, we just need to follow that up with a jump, possibly even on top of the skull, but... we shall see. Yeah, just high bounce off of that. And then on top of those bones over there to grab the POW, we'll just watch and let it go back and forth first. Soft drop. Oh yeah, this bit here. I remember playtesting this and having tons of trouble dropping it and landing. I can see, in fact, that this was extended by a tile, I think. Maybe, because this was a big problem for me when I playtested previously. We need to throw from this side. And then we jump towards it, but more accurately than that. Well, descriptivist, I mean, you know, there are a lot of things that, oh, as in, like, are you asking me if I, you know, drop curse words on people on stream or something? I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of the use-mention distinction. As a mention, maybe. As a use, probably not. Just as a stylistic standard. It's not something I consciously think about, to be honest. It's kind of funny because I've watched a lot of things like esports broadcasts and the like from just the most practiced and polished commentators who make it sound totally effortless to keep all their content family friendly. You don't even think about it as family friendly because it's just kind of there, and that's just how they speak. And then you go to their private streams and they just curse like sailors, and it's just always a funny discrepancy to watch. But whoops. So the use-mention distinction is, so for example, think about when you put something in quotation marks, where you're talking about the word as something that people say, rather than actually using the word yourself. Which applies to all kinds of, you know, words that people consider offensive, where there are a lot of contexts where, like, if you're talking about the word as just a word, as something people might say or use, then you're not actually using it yourself in a way that is offending, right? Like, if you're kind of thinking about it that way, but I realized a couple years ago that, like, I mean, I guess a lot of people have an intuitive concept of it without knowing necessarily that there is a technical term for it. But that a lot of people are not familiar with the idea of the use-mentioned distinction. Is a big problem, actually, because this came up a few years ago, because as many people on my stream know, I play tournament-level Scrabble. And for the longest time, it was completely accepted in tournament Scrabble that you would just play anything that's a word, and as long as it, you know, follows the box rules. And even then, there's a lot of leeway for what was allowed in the source dictionaries. We have to throw from the right to give it enough of a bounce. And so a couple of years ago, some people started to move against this and try to say that, okay, we're trying to, you know, build an inclusive and streaming-friendly game and all that, and maybe it alienates new players that we have this norm of allowing people to play just even the nastiest derogatory slurs that you can think of. So there was an effort to try to expunge that from the dictionaries, and then there was a massive disagreement over that that led to, you know, tournament organizations splintering from each other, and massive drama all around. I was in favor of keeping the offensive words, incidentally. I was very strongly in favor of keeping the offensive words, because it was very clear to me that, you know, the norm of playing them existed because people understood that playing a word in a word game just says that you recognize that it is a word. It doesn't mean that you're using it. You're not saying it to the other person, right? And to me, that was fairly clear. But then, essentially, what happened was that big corporate ownership noticed that this was going on because it was starting to make the news, right? And big corporate ownership, which is Hasbro in one side of the world and Mattel in the other, and that's a whole can of worms that I can't go into right now. They almost never notice what goes on in competitive play because they don't care. It makes no difference to their bottom line. And they stopped funding competitive organizations a long time ago. And apart from occasionally sponsoring events that are for the school level. And so there's very little support for that on the corporate side. So when they notice you, it's usually a bad thing. And so they noticed that this kind of conversation was going on, and so, you know, ownership essentially decided to step in and say, okay, we're just going to append the box rules, and we're going to say that you're not allowed to play offensive slurs. And so that just sort of created a whole kind of interventionist fiasco and so on. We had this down earlier. Why am I not getting it to throw now? Anyway. But essentially, the people who actually, you know, run the tournaments and define the dictionaries splintered off from each other anyway. So in some tournaments, you can play the naughty words, and in some you can't. And then occasionally, the dictionaries get revised, and then some things that were previously considered offensive were added back in because they had alternate definitions that were not offensive, and there's just mess all around. Just an absolute mess. But yeah, it's still a very controversial topic for some people because, you know... Okay, here's Boom Boom. Let's squish him. Or rather, just shove him aside, I guess. And then here we'll pop back into the Bowser room, but this time with a star. And then... oh yeah, we just need to dash in here. And grab that. So that's kind of required continuation anyway, I guess. Unless you had another way to break the icicle. So you actually were required to do the loop. It's not something optional. But anyway, we threw for content. Okay, that is it for today's stream, and that was actually kind of about perfect. I always love to do about 4 hours. I usually far exceed that for Mario Maker, especially if it's fewer levels, because things get out of control. But I've always found like about 4 hours is the perfect stream length when we can get it. And I was thinking today, okay, this is great. We've got 6 Mang levels that we're going to cover. I know how long I'm likely to take if we're secret hunting and being thorough about it. And so Mang percentage has been restored apart from the 9 MMC level, which, as I was saying, we will be featuring later this week if I can. Because we've been putting it off since the launch of the levels back in late December, since I have not been around on Twitch. But it's a 25 level set, 8 music levels, followed by 17 other levels that include a bit of music, but also have your typical mix of platforming, puzzles, trolls, etc. So I don't know how many streams it will take or how long it will take, but this is our main priority for the channel in the next few broadcasts, that we'll be covering 9th Mario Maker Celebration. And yeah, after that we'll finish up Prince of Persia, and then we'll see how we're doing at that point. There's a lot more Maker content coming down the pipe, as we were discussing earlier today with Super Discord Brothers 6 and some other things. And so we'll hopefully keep things interesting in Mario Maker going into 2025. And as far as I can tell, although I'll need to review the recording, I feel like we actually have addressed some pretty significant performance and audio issues on stream as well. So it looks like things are going well, and that I'm very eager to come back here and play some more. Would I like to shout out any favorite games or runners in this year's AGDQ? You know, Descriptivist, I noticed that there's no Maker presence this time around, which had been declining for quite some time. I mean, it used to be that a lot of people, including people who submit to my stream, would put together a GDQ level pack. And then eventually it just became Carl doing the Troll Showcase. And then I think this GDQ, for the first time in years, there's just no Mario Maker. So I don't really know what's going on. I have not been following. Occasionally I watch speedrunners in other games. I used to follow Metroid Dread pretty closely. But I don't know what category they're doing this time around. So I have not been following GDQ this year. I occasionally pay attention, especially when people we know from Mario Maker are actually creating levels for it. But in terms of the runners in this year's set, I'd glance over the schedule and I don't recognize most of the people, to be honest. But if you have any favorites, feel free to point them out on the schedule. You can also point some of that out on the Discord so I can follow up with it separately, perhaps. Because I honestly don't know who's worth watching this year. So, anyway. That's all for today. And thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, we have a lot of improvements coming to the stream, and it seems like this one on a technical level has gone so much better already. So thank you once again to Mang for having released all of these levels, which had been saved up for quite some time over the course of the year. And Mang, of course, dropped by for a little bit earlier today and was going to come back for the VOD as well, so cheers once again to the Maker, and to all other makers who produce such excellent content for us week after week after week. Lots more to come, and thanks for watching. We will see if we can send you folks forward somewhere on a modest raid, but we'll determine that in just a moment. And yeah, I'll scan around and see who's on my list. Once again, have a wonderful time ahead of you. Don't get too stuck with COVID. Hopefully everybody sort of recovers from that. I feel like that's sort of been making a comeback this season. So, best wishes of that. Hopefully nothing too severe. And as always, enjoy everything that you may be playing or watching or otherwise enjoying. And fare thee well.